What y'all think of Joe Budden's reaction to the Dr. Umar contest?
Genius, brother. I just disagree with everything he said. Dr. Umar, your message ain't even as loud as it is without hip-hop. At all.
Meek Mill's still rap about mass murder, and he's on a reform team. And his kids, I know for a fact, live in mansions. Are we like retarded now?
Let me say something quick about that.
Okay. Clear the paint.
I was watching, I was listening to the reaction actually, and I really don't like the fact that he didn't mention your names, bro. Like, you guys brought Dr. Umar out, man. Like, come on, man. That's a big deal. And like, my perception of watching Dr. Umar is he's the hot take king.
Yeah, I was actually on my first class flight because I used all the points up that I had for the last like 4 years.
Nice.
First class, he's about to spend all his points on an
hour flight. Splurge it on a 45-minute flight.
This is the one. Why don't just get Mouse to come on Dr. Umar?
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, hold on, but wait, this is perfect. Mouse and Dr. Umar would be great together. I said, yo, would you want to come early and be an episode of Dr. Umar? And he's like, what?
And that was last.
People are thinking I'm defending Drake. No, I'm defending me, nigga.
That's what I said
you
in the
guys
pod.
are saying shit that is triggering me.
Thank you.
It was a heavy downplay of how powerful racism is, like, as a system and a structure. Like, black people are the victims in this situation. Kanye opened a school.
Yeah.
LeBron is hip hop. He opened a school.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
Shaq is hip hop. He owns fucking. When they do We Are the World,
That's a good example. They could have actually just put money in rather than waiting for the song to generate the money.
Bro.
They could just put the money together.
it's like when
and do
Oprah
it.
says, "Yo,
The
you
whole-
guys, we gotta build these homes
Oprah, you got the
down
money.
here. Here's the GoFundMe. Oprah,
You
you
gotta
are
do-
the
you got
GoFundMe. I've been in situations where a certain song has fired a nigga up enough. He had a reason before, and now the song is put the battery in his back.
Yeah, but also like,
Today on the show, we're talking about our viral episode with Dr. Umar with two legends in Toronto. Number one, we have Marlon Palmer. He is the host of Flow 98.7 and Extra Gravy, one of the most well-known voices in Toronto when it comes to culture and hip-hop. So we have him, and number two, we have Friday. Friday is the owner and host of We Love Hip Hop. So We Love Hip Hop is one of the most prominent blogs for hip hop in Toronto, and he's interviewed people like Pressa, well-known Toronto artists. So we're gonna discuss that episode and chop it up. All right, let's see the other side. Let's go. Initial reaction when he saw the Dr. Umar conversation.
First of all, I was like, Dr. Umar's in Toronto? That was my first thing. But no, I think the conversation is a good conversation to have. I think it's way too layered for like how simple they are trying to make it out to be. I agree with both of them also. So I also don't think anyone was saying any wrong points personally. Yeah. But I think they're simplifying it way too much. Like, you're basically like, it was a heavy downplay of how powerful racism is, like, as a system and a structure. Like,
This podcast is brought to you by Drake Cellars Wine, one of the only black-owned wines in Canada. You already know what to do. Hit the link below and scoop up not one, not two, but a case of wine. This is the white field blenders wine. So make sure you go scoop that. Hit the link below and visit NaraiCellars.ca. Let's get back to the show.
they're focused on, to me, what it seemed like is focused on blaming the victims. Black people are the victims in this situation, right? Especially when you're talking about what is done to the community. A lot of these guys are coming from and are doing drugs or selling drugs or doing crime because there's no alternative. Not because it's fun, not because it's like this cool thing to do. Yeah, of course, there's gonna be some people who are doing it because they think it looks cool or whatever.
Yeah.
But the majority of people are doing it out of necessity.
yes.
And why are they doing it out of necessity? Because of racism as a structure. So it's like, why are we telling black people that they need to fix it? Imagine I looked at you, you broke something, it belonged to him, and I'd say, yo, you gotta fix it. Oh, by the way, he has all the tools. You don't get the tools, but you still gotta fix
You
it.
gotta fix it.
Oh, by the way, he's been breaking it for 400 plus years. You still gotta fix it, and fix it today. Like, hip hop is 50 years old. And it's like, why are we expecting this big leap? We've got what? The civil rights movement happened, 80 years? 70, 80 years now? compared to 400 plus years.
Yeah.
How do you expect the things to change just that
I don't know if
quickly?
he was necessarily saying that there should be an equal amount of effort, but he was saying what has come from the 50.
There's a lot.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
Like, to say nothing is crazy. Kanye opened a school.
Yeah.
LeBron is hip hop. He opened a school.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
Shaq is hip hop. He owns fucking
Everything.
Papa John's,
Yeah.
Krispy Kreme, like you name
Yeah.
it.
Low key, he's the only one out of everybody who's opening schools who didn't get his open yet. Just saying, low key.
It's a
No,
fact.
High key.
Who else had a charter school? Was it did he had a charter school?
Yeah.
Like
He did have a charter school.
How
didn't
old
he?
were the?
this guy's crazy. But I'm just saying, like, you can't think of things. I think he's thinking of things on a very macro lens.
Yeah.
And you have to look at small efforts. Like, everything counts. And like, even though things may not change overnight, even if say hip hop artists open supermarkets. Okay. Now what? Now you just got to sustain that. That's not going to change where redlining is happening. That's not going to change food deserts.
Yeah.
People still live in those areas. So it's like, I just don't understand what he's looking at as not work.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense.
You see, the thing is, when it comes to my perception of watching Dr. Umar, is he's the hot take king.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he may believe a percentage of what he's saying, but I don't think he completely, wholeheartedly believes that.
Yeah.
But he knows it's going to sound real hot, especially with him and Mouse Jones. He knows Mouse Jones is not going to hear that at all. So it's going to incite some type of a debate. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not trying to like take the cat out the bag, but I feel like a little bit sometimes he doesn't completely mean the takes that he's saying, but he knows it's going to be hot. He knows people are going to argue, and he's going to get somebody to combat with him on that.
But is
you
he
know what I'm
wrong?
saying?
Go ahead.
Is hip hop doing better for the community than it's doing
It
worse?
has done way better, especially when you got guys like The Game and all these different people who have bought back areas in their hoods and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? R.I.P. Nipsey Hussle. He had a store in his hood that was employing people from his own hood. You know what I'm saying? So even when you're looking, like you said, from like a micro level, and then you add up all the micro levels, we got something macro.
But where did
But
Nipsey
that's
get
the-
shot?
But that's
In
the
his own
problem,
hood.
though.
Like, you see what I'm saying?
That's the problem, though. See, what you guys said is correct. But I think Dr. Umar's point was not, of course, if you add up all the small things, as a whole, hip hop has done a lot. But a lot of it is individualism. And that's his point. And that's where Mouse couldn't defend the point.
Yeah.
Because Mouse kept going to like one person this, one person that, one person that. But he's saying hip hop as a whole has not really given back to the community. Of course, there are people that have open schools, open stores, whatever it is, but not in the name of hip hop. It's in the name of them.
But
And
also,
that's his problem.
That's
with
true.
it.
That's true.
You know
But
what I mean?
and also, like, why isn't there, like, you remember when Tidal dropped
Yeah.
and all
Yeah.
them niggas was on stage together to just launch Tidal? Why can't niggas just do that to come together and create
something else.
something big? Like,
sure.
he's not wrong when you got Rihanna and all these billionaires that, kudos to them. Like, I completely understand having that poor mentality when you're rich.
Yeah.
Where it's like, yo, this might be gone any second. I might get canceled. Something might happen. Like, I got to hold on to this for as tight as I can. But if everybody came together and pitched in, not everybody just spending all their own money,
Yeah.
then yeah, you're gonna see some real change, like some real change.
Actual change.
But that's never happened. And people got to ask themselves why. When they do We Are the World, why aren't those niggas also in there, instead of making the song for charity, putting their money in and doing something actually concrete? Like,
Because they could have, even with that, that's a good example. They could have actually just put money in rather than waiting for the song to generate the money.
Bro.
They could just put the money together.
it's like when
and do
Oprah
it.
says, yo,
Oh, the whole
you guys, we gotta build these homes
Oprah, you got the
down
money.
here. Here's the GoFundMe. Oprah,
You
you
gotta-
are the
you got
GoFundMe. You are it.
You got that
Bro,
in your
how
purse.
many gifts is Oprah giving away?
Bro.
There's something under your chair.
But those aren't even her giving it away.
Yeah, that's the producers or the
It's
production.
the companies. That's
Yeah.
advertising. You know what I mean?
All that.
Oprah's favorite things is all
And she's getting paid
payola,
off of
and
those,
she's
then.
getting paid off that. So it's like that kind of thing. When people see that, it's almost insulting.
Yeah, facts.
which is kind of why you're seeing this rebellion against celebrity, and which is why sometimes it's hard to feel sorry for them when they get into like these little rumor mill stuff, and because it's like, yo, you could really be doing some good out here, but you're on fuckery.
Yeah.
So true, bro.
Every day we got to see Blueface and Krishan, like every day, every day.
So
it's crazy,
and that's kind of what brings me to the point I was talking about of institutions. You know, when he said, "What institutions have we built?" and I said, "Revolt." People, y'all were looking at me crazy, and I was like,
Yeah, but remember, I think every time people have this conversation, I've seen a lot of people have it. Every time people have this conversation, they continue to go to things that, like, remember, he's talking about black people. Revolt does not only employ black people.
Not
That's
at all.
what he's talking about.
And that was my biggest like gripe listening to it, because I'm like, you guys kept bringing up examples of companies that have white people either at the top or near it enough.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know
but
what I
there's
mean?
so many more examples. Like, for example, No Limit. I know
I
No
brought up
Limit
Master P.
is out
I
of
said
business
Master P.
now, but for the most
It's
part,
a
out of
Horrible
business.
example, by the way.
But
Every single
that's
thing
why-
went bankrupt.
But
all
but
of it.
from the 90s, he had his own company. You know what I'm saying? At the same time, Cash Money, maybe about a year or so later, had Baby and Slim had their own company.
Master P started making his own movies.
All of that, and I'm sure the majority of the people that he employed were black people.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
but I think really and truly, what I understand from the conversation is it's the collective. It's just the collective.
Yeah.
That's what he's trying to really see, what hip hop has done. As a collective, what has people from hip hop come together and created for all black people as a collective? Because if you think about it, majority of the businesses that are owned by Jewish people or Italian people or whatever it is, it's a bunch of people that come together. They create something,
Pool resources.
And that's how they all
Even
work.
when
except for us.
immigrants come to this country, you see it at the lowest level. They pool together resources. Man will stay in 17 man in one bedroom.
Facts.
Just to make enough to that they can save and get out and be on their feet,
Bro,
and be good.
I do real estate photography. I went to a home one time, and there was probably, I'd say, about 10 or 12 adults staying at the house. Majority of them all had kids, right? They're in a big house. Bro, when you look at their driveway, everybody has a Camaro, different colors, right? Bro, these guys are pooling their stuff together so that they can all come up in that house, and then when it's time, separate. Now you guys are going to be responsible for another 20 people plus their kids, and they're going to all grow up together and then separate again. Like,
Only black people want to
don't-
be out that house
Bro,
at 17, 18 years
Bro,
old.
black people would rather live in the hood by themselves than pool together with a whole bunch of people and find a nice spot, maybe in the suburbs, maybe nearby the city, whatever it is, and grind it out together so that they can make it. They rather live in the hood by themselves and drive a Benz.
But
I don't
black
get it.
parents will also make you pay the rent when you're at a certain age.
facts.
Yeah.
Where other cultures are like, you're living scotch free
You're
and
good.
saving.
Yeah.
Like, and we can't underestimate obviously the position that we're in as a
of course.
community, but at the same time, it's like I feel like a lot of times, especially when you talk about hip hop, like it's prioritizing the wrong things.
Oh, for sure.
And when you talk about even just the origins of hip hop and where it's at now, I feel like there was a turning point where it stopped being good for black people. Like at a certain point, it turned into like a caricature on SNL. That like
When do you think
it's
that
like
was?
the view of what white people like, especially now when you look at the rise of black female rappers, there's not one of them that can be in the top 5 and not shake ass and wear barely anything.
Yeah.
And I'm not mad at it. I'm never going to be mad at it. Express yourself however you want. But there's a pattern here for a reason. When we talk about the top consumers, it's white people are the
Yes.
top consumers of
Yes.
hip hop. If you are appealing to your customer base, you have to appeal to what they resonate with.
Yeah.
And if they think black women are a certain way,
That's what they want to see.
that's what you got. You're selling a product.
Yeah, I can tell you like around the time where things kind of changed and it took that turn, around the late 90s, I guess when Puffy and everybody started to really commercialize hip hop, that's when you started to see like a lot of brands getting connected to stuff. You know what I mean? Explosions in the background. The videos started to become like 250,000 and up, right? That's when things started to really change. That's when you started to see Foxy Brown, Lil Kim, all of these people. Even though compared to now, the music was way better, I guess. The messaging and the visuals that you were seeing in those were kind of crazy. Like when you look at the Lil Kim Hardcore album, which a lot of us love the album cover or the poster, it was just her with her legs spread with a muff.
It's a great point, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Great point.
But this is 20-something years ago.
Yeah. That became like an icon. Like that became the iconic pose that Bear Girls have.
And then Nicki came out and
she
redid
did the
it.
exact same thing.
That's when she blew up.
That's a
great
pattern
point.
with everything, though. With everything where business becomes the thing.
Yes.
It ruins it. Like there's nothing that I've ever seen that grew organically from a community that when it's got that big sponsor, when it got those big, because now you have to operate a certain way. It's just like with the president. People think the president's in charge. It's the person that donated to the president. Whoever gave him the biggest check runs the country.
Yeah.
Because whatever they need exempt, whatever they need done, gets done.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I'm pulling my money. And you don't get to be president.
Yeah, and it also makes people have different decisions to have to make when that comes into play, right?
Yeah.
When once upon a time, I guess when like native tongues and everything was popular, the highest amount of money that people were getting to do hip hop as a product would be probably like $50K. But that $50K doesn't come with a whole bunch of expectations and you can't do this and you can't do that. But when somebody comes around and says, well, we'll give you $400K. However, you need to do this. We need to take this out. We need to do this and this. A lot of people ain't going to say no to the $400K. And that started getting more and more and more. So people were getting deals like I just mentioned with Master P and Cash Money. These guys were getting $100 million at a time. You know what I'm saying? To run record labels early.
And I think that's the reason why, honestly, I can't picture, at least I can't picture hip hop really getting to that place of building that community thing that actually benefits Black people. The reason why is because I feel like there's always going to be that one person to say yes to the fuckery.
And this is the problem,
you know what I'm saying?
With us.
There's always one.
This is the problem. You seen that show, The Trust, on Netflix?
Yes, bro, I love that show.
So The Trust is a show where literally like there's a pool of money, and as long as everybody keeps buying in and saying yes, we're all good.
Everyone's good.
But nobody trusts everyone to say yes.
There's always one.
There's always one person goes, I don't know. Everybody just went, we're good, right? We're good, right? We're good, right? One person goes, I don't like the look of his bangs, man. I don't trust it. I knew a nigga like that. Like everybody's implicit biases come out.
Yeah.
And you don't trust that other person. So it's like, even when we talk about coming together and doing something as a community, how can these artists even trust that everything's gonna go as planned? That everyone's gonna chip in, everyone's gonna do the work. It's not just gonna fall on me.
Yeah. And even to add on to that, how are you going to trust anyone when Black people started to get into positions of power that the white people were in before, that was like jerking them in record deals and stuff like that? They did the same thing.
They become the same thing.
Exactly.
The actual system of it is exploitive.
Yeah.
But I think that when you get to a certain level, though, you naturally are going to become a capitalist.
You have to.
Yeah, but there's one thing
in order to sustain.
Not to interrupt you, but there's one thing to be a capitalist, and then there's one thing to be somebody who's taking advantage of somebody, an opportunist. You know what I'm saying? Because like, okay, now that I'm in power and I got $100 million to work with, instead of just giving out good deals because I'm your brother, a lot of guys were like, all right, well, I'm going to jerk my brother now.
Why
on a deal
should
too.
I be the good guy
Yes.
when all these guys are winning and they're not being the good guy?
Or if that wasn't the case, then the locks wouldn't be trying to throw fridges on people or all kind of crazy shit. You know what I'm saying? And this continued for like more than a decade. There's artists who are complaining about people that are the same color as them saying, I ain't getting my money from the deal.
Yeah.
Obviously, sometimes it's artists being whiny babies and not understanding how contracts work. But a lot of people got jerked over the years. Kanye jerked a whole bunch of people, and he's supposed to be Yeezus.
But what do you say?
But he's supposed to be Yeezus. He's supposed to be quote unquote righteous
For the people.
But ask Big Sean, he might think a little bit different.
But what do you say to this? So LL Cool J just went on Joe Budden's pod, and he said something that stuck with me a lot. So he had equity in Def Jam, right? When Def Jam was created, they gave him equity in the business. He got into hard times, and he had to sell his equity off, right? Jesus. Now, he could just go and be like, they fucked me, blah, 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 blah. But he literally admitted, he's like, bro, I messed up.
Yeah.
But at that time, I needed that. And, you know, they were asking about contracts. And he's like, bro, you signed the contract. At the end of the day, you signed it. So what's your opinion on that? Where obviously there are many artists that get jerked and get you know, ruined by labels, but they still signed it. What do you think about it?
I agree wholeheartedly. Like, if you signed the deal, or if you didn't decide to bring some kind of legal advisory who's working in your favor to go over the contract, then that's on you.
I don't know, man. I get it, but like at the same time, for a lot of these, especially kids, it's like, bruh, I sleep with my brother.
Yeah.
Like, we have to put water in a pot
To take a shower.
to shower.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell that nigga go get a lawyer first. Like, what? They're giving me 4 M's? Nigga, fuck out of here. They don't care if they got to pay it back. They believe in me. I'll make it back.
They don't
Look
know what
at
that
all
word-
these artists that made it back.
They don't know that
think
word
it's like-
perpetuity. They're
Yeah.
like, what that mean?
And then they grow
Throughout
up,
the universe. Yeah, I don't even live in the
then they
universe.
grow up, they get successful, they learn, and then they're like, oh, this record company screwed me over. But
Yeah.
it's like, bro, you read in hard times, you signed that to get to where you're at.
It's happened
now.
a million times.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of that, what do you guys think of Lucian Grange making Elliot Grange the CEO of Capital? Oh, Atlantic.
Atlantic Records.
I mean,
It's nepotism, man.
why wouldn't
Best
I?
form.
Why I'd do the same thing if I was a dad.
Facts. But he's qualified too, though. That I was talking to.
Yeah,
Alex
he's
about that
done
earlier.
things.
He's done things.
Didn't he
found,
have
like, Trippie
10K or
Redd.
something like that? Was
Yeah,
he the
10K.
yeah.
Tekashi 69.
Tekashi,
Yeah.
Trippie Redd.
Yeah.
Bunch of artists he found.
It's very telling the type of artist he signs, but also it's just like it worked.
Yeah.
And it's like it worked because of his connections, obviously. So it's like, what's the difference? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think there's any difference in how business is done. Like, these guys just change chairs.
Facts.
What changes?
Yeah.
Nothing changes.
Yeah,
You know
Dominic
what
is
I
talking
mean?
about that.
So it's like, and for me, it's like, at what point do the consumers take accountability when we talk about the type of artist that they like a Lucian Grange will sign or his son will sign? If those guys end up selling and appealing to the masses, what does it say about us? You know what I mean? Like, if it's not like there isn't good rap out there, isn't conscious rap out there.
Yeah.
Those artists still exist. I know a couple in Toronto. So it's like, there's got to be way more in America. So it's like, it's not like these people don't exist, but it's what are people paying attention to?
People
but
want
also
the
what's
gimmick.
being pushed to them.
That's what I'm thinking, like, because the masses, what they're consuming is controlled, right? There's gonna be people who are the exceptions who are searching for their own music, and they're gonna find like a Sean Leon or somebody like that, right? But for the most part, if anybody's under the label or any type of machine, right, they're gonna get pushed. They're gonna get put in the algorithm higher. You know what I mean? They're gonna get promotion posts. They're gonna get, you know, billboards, anything that you need, so that they're put in front of the masses' face.
Yeah.
Right. So the masses are choosing from what's in front of them. You know what I mean, there's people who, you're on radio. There's a playlist of songs that are always played in the top 40 list.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then every once in a while, a DJ will introduce something new. But for the most part, you're listening to the same shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Speaking of which, what's your top 5 Canadian artists right now? Besides Drake and The Weeknd.
Oh, man. Why you do that, man?
Took away 2 people.
Sean Leon's on that list, always. Daniel Caesar's on that list, always. Cardinal's always on that list. Who else? I'll go with Party. And this last one's tough. I can't pick the fifth one's always the
Give it to
toughest.
someone local, like someone that you just know.
They're all local.
No, but like I mean, like someone more.
Oh, okay.
not
Like
worldwide.
John Vinyl.
Boom,
John Vinyl's
boom.
fire.
that.
Shout out John Vinyl.
Yeah.
So are you asking Toronto?
Yeah, just
Top 5 Toronto artists.
Criteria, please.
It's not drink champs, bro.
No, well, it's like
Actually,
all,
it is
of
drink
all
champs. Whoever you want.
time.
All right.
Whoever
Am
you
I
want.
his
All right,
hottest?
let's do top 5 hottest artists in the city right now.
Okay, thank you. Because you gotta
That is-
understand,
that is
I get in
different.
trouble
That
with
is
lists. You know what I'm saying?
Fair.
Top 5 hottest in the city right now. Okay, good question. That's Toby. I would put him in there.
Damn, that was
I still think Press is one of the hottest artists out of the city. Who else?
I think
Who
his
else?
brother is sick.
Yeah.
That
Who says the
Ibiza
brother?
song.
Bundog.
Bundog, yeah.
That Ibiza song is hard.
Havaya Mighty.
Shout out Hawaii. Shout out Omega as well.
Who else?
Double M.
Oh, Double M.
Double M.
She's hard.
She's to me is my
She's
favorite
she's like the
female.
best
Double M.
rapper.
She's
I'm
my
gonna put Double M.
favorite female
Yeah.
artist in the city.
And I'm kind
And
of
she's
biased
fire.
when it comes to that because she is one of my favorites as well.
I
Like,
think
she
Drake
could
should
spit.
sign her.
She's
Yeah.
fire.
I think Drake
Yeah.
should sign her.
She has like the look, she has the rap, she has everything. She's
everything.
fire.
And her stage presence is insane.
Yeah, I got one more. Sad Boy.
Yep.
Sad Boy's hard
Sad
too.
Boy's killing shit right
I'm
now.
gonna put my 5 in there.
Yeah,
Sad Boy's easily the hottest artist, I
five
think,
in
in the
yeah,
city right
pretty
now.
much.
Go ahead, Isaac.
I'm gonna
Who's your top five?
say Kid Quasi. I don't know if you guys know who that is.
Yeah,
Quasi's
yeah.
super hard, bro. I'm gonna say Tome.
Yep.
Tome's dope.
She's
I
great.
love her music. I'm gonna say Double M. She's super fire. She's mad consistent. Like every track she drops,
Bars.
hard. And she's fire too. I'm gonna say Toby. I rock with, and then
Fifth one's always just the most
Fifth one's
difficult.
nasty. 50. You know
Honorary
who's
shout
dope?
out to Uncle Bushman.
John Kabongo.
Yeah,
Is
salute
that
John
his name?
Kabongo.
That's his
Yeah,
name, right?
yeah,
John
yeah.
Kabongo. He's hard. Like he's putting in. I like the work that he's putting in. It's very much true to music. Has nothing to do with anything else other than music and his passion. So I super rock with that. Same thing with Kid Quasi, bro. Quasi, you guys got to check out Kid Quasi. Hard.
Yeah, and Kabongo has a really dope backstory also with
Yeah,
the basketball
ball
and the
and everything.
teaching.
So
and
he
everything.
is those brothers.
Yeah, yeah.
I was thinking, I'm like,
From Ball.
I
Yeah,
only
yeah.
ever hear that name with those
Ball,
that
yeah,
family.
So,
Yeah, I
break him down.
interviewed
I've
him
never
not
heard
too
him
long
before.
ago.
Break him down real quick.
So he was a ball player. I'm not sure if he got injured or
He
something
broke.
happened.
He messed up his back, man.
yeah, he got injured. Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
He went up for a dunk, and then somebody undercut him, and he fell on his back. Fucked up his whole career.
Yeah. And he's kind of dedicated to, it seems like he's dedicated to music now. I worked with him on it was like a clothing brand shoot. I got to meet him. I ended up driving him to the next location and he was just playing his music in my car. And I'm like, bro, like I had to ask the man like, yo, what's your sound? And he's like, bro, I don't have a sound. I do music. I'm like, oh yeah.
That's tough.
It's fire, bro.
Yeah.
Fire.
Okay.
There's this even like with me just being so like engulfed in that whole scene.
Yeah.
There's two different hip hop scenes.
Yeah.
Like the list that I gave is a mix of the two, but there's gonna be people who might see and get offended, right? But they have to have their own underground
Juno
like.
scene and the YouTube scene.
Yeah, you know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about, right?
yeah,
Like the man them, the shit,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
There's a lot of those guys, and a lot of them are sick, but they're literally, like you said, YouTube artists. They barely do shows if they do any.
Yeah. Well, they
And
can't, most of
sometimes they don't even have a Spotify profile. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong. I've interviewed a lot of guys and they have their shit together.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But they've limited themselves because the shit is so gangster, or they've dissed a whole bunch of people, smoking on a bunch of people that
Yeah.
it's hard to
can't
go
do
outside
nothing.
and just go
Yeah.
put up a flyer. I'm going to be over here for the next month. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, right.
So actually, I'm happy you brought that up because I think you'd be the best person to provide an opinion on it. So for me, I like gangster music, but I can't listen to gangster music from Toronto. The reason specifically why is because I'm from the hood in Toronto. I've lost family, friends to gun violence here. So when I listen to people from Toronto speak on those type of stuff, it doesn't make me cringe, but it kind of makes me sad. Like I can't actually listen to it because I've experienced a lot of these things firsthand. Now, when I'm listening to somebody from New York or Chicago or LA or whatever talk about it, I'm cool with that. They have an accent. They're doing completely different things from people that I actually know and grow up around. And I'm removed from it. So I'm able to accept it more. Do you think that right now, today, if an artist was to start rapping for the first time and he wanted to just talk about his story, whether if it's his friend's story or somebody he grew up around or his personal story, and it happens to be within that field, the gangster, the crazy stuff, do you think that that's the right path to go? And do you think that you can actually hit the next level starting in that type of music? I actually want your real opinion on that.
It depends. If that's the person's real reality, like how are they going to talk about something else? I don't condone the whole next level of what people added with the smoking on ops and all that. But like if your lifestyle was shitty and you came up, 5 people in the bedroom and roaches in the cereal, and then you started selling drugs from 13 and all that, then I want to hear that. What I want to ask you also before I finish answering the question is, are you accepting of the fact that you're a little bit biased when it comes to that?
Yes, 100%. I know
because
I'm
you can't
biased.
like enjoy Cameron talking about shooting somebody in the face. But then can't say I don't like Thoroughbred talking about that shit.
And that's the thing. Like that's why I start off with like I make an actual distinction with people from here and people in the States. I know that it's because I'm removed. Why I enjoy it.
I think
know
people
that.
also look at hip hop as like WWE in a sense as well. I
Yeah.
think that's a part of the problem is, and it's like it's weird because like you'll have grown adults who, well, no, I guess it's the exact same thing because WWE for grown people is pretty popular as well. It's not just for kids or anything like that.
It's a grown man soap opera.
Probably
Grown
more
man soap
popular.
opera, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that hip hop is the same thing for the black community. And I think that people just take it too far, kind of like sports, where it's like you ride with this one character for so long, and like if anybody goes against your character, they're trying to ruin they're trying to take the belt. You know what I mean? Like, and so you got to ride, and go crazy.
You're almost there with that analogy. It used to be CNN and it became WWE.
Yeah. It used to be real.
Yeah.
It used to be like,
This
And then when you
is
found
what our
out,
hood is like.
especially when you found out so many rappers aren't living the life you thought they were. Like in the 90s, you believed those niggas.
CNN times.
You know what I mean? And I think there is a distinction between the drug sellers and the drug takers.
And the people who are actually smoking on dead ops.
You know what I mean?
Because there's some of those guys who are real.
Yeah.
Like to this day, listen to Who I Smoke. It kind of, it's like, ugh.
It's kind of like when the new young guns on the block come up and they don't know order though. Like that's what hip hop's at right now. Whereas before, it wasn't like niggas would talk about shooting up and blah blah blah, but they weren't like, yo, fuck your mom, I'm pissing on a girl. Like I remember when Jay-Z had to apologize. For saying something about someone's
true.
baby
Leaving
seat.
condoms on the baby seat.
You know what I mean? So it's like there was still order. There was still a code of like, yo, to stay within this framework.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's how can I be the most disrespectful nigga? Like Fulio went and did a music video on a nigga's grave.
The next man
No, but Lil Dull, that's the guy from Philly who just died. I don't know if you guys seen the
He
video.
dug up the person's
He dug
grave.
up the man's grave.
You know what I'm saying?
Bro, the video,
Yeah.
but okay, so that goes back to my original point. I'm so, like, he dug up the man's grave. And I remember that video coming across my timeline, right? Now I go on Twitter yesterday, I see the video of him getting killed. And bro, the way they dealt with him so dirty, like, that's why I'm so removed from the American people doing it. Because when that happened in Toronto, like, bro, when Smoke Dogg died, I was legit like sick because I'm from here. I was also maybe 10 minutes away. Like, we were all about to link up right where that happened. I'm so close to it that I could feel it. Whereas these guys, bro, I watched the video of the man
I
digging up the grave.
was in the
You
venue he
scroll
was
down-
walking into.
You were in Cube?
Yeah,
That's
I was up
crazy.
top.
You-
We
you're there.
heard the shots.
Yeah.
And everybody just dug down. And then nothing happened. And everybody looked around and nothing was going on. So everybody just stood up and didn't put the music on for like 2 or 3 minutes. And then the music just started going back on. And then like probably like 10 minutes later, you see seeing people like just whispering all over the club. And like it got to me and someone was like, yo, they shot Smoke Dogg outside. And there's a next guy, they shot him in the head, like he's done. And like we're like, this was like Canada Day weekend or something like that.
Everyone was downtown that weekend.
Everyone, like downtown was rammed.
Which is insane.
This is on Queen
Queen Street, like
Midday,
right there.
like the most popping
The
part
most
of the day.
popping place. Most popping
And you know
part
what's
of the day.
crazy about that too? Like what you're saying with people getting desensitized or just
Yeah.
people filming everything in real time. When that was happening, I got videos of the real time.
Yeah. The
You know,
real
like
thing.
up close.
Up close
I was
video
like,
of it.
whoa, like this too graphic for me
Yeah.
to look at in private. Like I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't feel comfortable looking at this.
Yeah, and what I was saying with that is, so when that happened to the Philly rapper,
And is that because of hip hop?
that goes back to the
Yes.
Did that happen because of hip hop?
Yes,
But
he rapped.
is that-
He rapped and he did a music video
Yeah, that's
rapping, digging up motherfuckers' graves.
Yeah.
Smoke Dog?
That's
No,
it.
I'm talking about Smoke Dog.
Well,
Was that
don't think so.
was that as a result of hip hop?
Nah.
indirectly,
that was street beef.
yes.
Well,
So-
if he didn't rap, he probably wouldn't have been
He
as
wouldn't have the
popular.
spotlight.
And then that
He
person
wouldn't have been
wouldn't
as
have even
exposed.
wanted to kill him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He might
But
have
also,
died on
what if
some
he
other
rapped?
reasons.
What if he rapped and like I'm not even too familiar. Like I've heard the hits.
Yeah.
I don't know his discography. But from what I know, he talked about street stuff.
Yeah.
If he didn't speak about street stuff, do you think that would have happened anyways?
I don't think so.
Probably not. But the thing is, there's also the red eye factor, right? Where, I guess for the people outside of Toronto, like the jealousy factor, right?
Yeah.
So there's people who might attain a certain amount of success from rapping.
Yeah.
Rapping some like happy-go-lucky shit.
Yeah.
But if they got a bunch of chains, a la Drake,
Yeah.
somebody gonna come for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? 'Cause
That's what I'm saying. Like that's why I wanted to make that distinction because I was like, there's a lot of things that happen that I think we attribute to hip hop.
Yeah.
That it would just have happened anyways.
Yeah.
Like I do believe that would have happened
he was-
regardless because of
Because he was in
he
that
was
lifestyle.
deep.
who he was.
Yeah.
Who he was. You know
I
what
think a
mean?
good
Like,
example of
just
that-
like what he's saying. Like you could be doing good
Yeah.
and still get robbed. Tyga never talked no street shit in his life. He still got
robbed.
Rack City bitch, Rack City bitch in Toronto. He had to sing that or some shit like that, right?
And his protege, Honey C or Honey Cocaine. She wasn't on no gangster rap or super extra gangster rap shit,
Yeah.
and she got shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
shit.
I forgot about that.
So it's like
I completely
a
forgot
lot of
about
these
that.
things. I think it's very. I don't know. It just feels white. It feels Caucasian to me to attribute these things to hip hop. You know what I mean? Like,
But what would
it
you
just
say
feels
to
like
a-
too easy of an answer.
How about a Mustafa the Poet, where he's literally creating like soft folk music? Then you watch the video, and it's like a hood video.
It reminds me of those like videos you see
Misplaced?
like Vanessa Carlton
Yeah.
singing 100
Yeah,
miles and
yeah,
some
yeah.
bunch of hood niggas.
Yeah, how they got word.
The words don't match.
misplaced-
the-
Yeah, yeah.
But for him, I feel like there's been so much of this like twinery
He confuses me.
between the hood and like his style of music, and it's causing him to be now like you have like top 5 arguing with him or sending shots at it, whatever it is. Or you have all these people twining him up in this thing when he's kind of talking about his pain. So I feel like in a way it is hip hop. You know what I'm saying?
There's a thing about building a brand that doesn't allow for a lot of humanity, where when it comes to duality, like you got to kind of be one thing. And so for me, I've been confused with his brand because like he'll have these amazing, beautiful poems, like preaching peace, right, and advocating for peace. But then, yeah, you'll see those moments where he'll get into a tiff with someone and he doesn't seem like that guy anymore. He's not choosing the higher, you know what I mean? He's not taking the higher road. He's going low with them.
Yeah.
So that's why it's just confusing with me. But I do understand that there's two sides to people. Like there's a guy that will be the most charitable and will fuck you up. Like it's just that's what it is. So it's like it's tough when you're an artist.
Yeah.
I found that interesting on his verse on 21 Savage's album, no, Metro's album, when he was talking about this don't kill anybody innocent. But you can go kill.
Yeah.
Don't kill anybody
Not
innocent.
anybody innocent.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Hip hop has a lot of mixed messages. Listen, as somebody who has a show called We Love Hip Hop, I have a very complicated relationship with hip hop.
Talk about that.
Like there's a lot of times that I feel kind of Uncle Ruckusy, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm like,
I don't blame
I've
you.
seen the whole progression of it. You know what I'm saying? I'm going into 50. I'm going to be 50 years old soon. You know what I'm saying? So I've seen the whole thing from when I can remember, and like I've seen it go to a real bad place,
It's
man.
like Jerry Springer now.
Yeah,
So
like
because you have all that insight, first of all, what's your favorite era? I'll ask you that. And what do you think about the era today? Like, where do you think it's going? What do you think about it currently?
my favorite era, I guess I would say would be the early 90s,
Like, who would be some standout artists during that time? What you would say?
like Tribe Called Quest, De La Soul. And then even when it started getting a little bit more gangster, like Black Moon and stuff like that.
Fushnikins.
Fushnikins, like, but those guys were kind of like fluffy rap. But you know what I'm saying?
loved
Like, like stuff that meant something. Like Public Enemy I was a big fan of when I was younger. But I really liked a lot of gangster shit. So I'm not even gonna act like I'm holier than anybody talking about
what
shooting.
would be some of those? Because I feel like the gangster
Like I love
guys back in
Cameron.
those days. Yeah, okay.
Cameron has some. I have his whole catalog.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? I listen to MOP. I listen to like I said, Black Moon, who had songs like "Bucking Down." I listened to a lot of violent shit over the years, and I'm not gonna act like that's not part of the problem. It's just the level of lyricism that was involved in the stuff that I was listening to back then. The Locks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The Locks talk about shooting people in all kind of ways. Styles P said, I'm going to kill 100 niggas right in front of niggas. Like, that's one of his bars, right? But like, they did it in a more artistic way where now I hear...
Spoken general. They weren't saying, I'm going to kill that nigga and this nigga.
And I
like,
on this
first,
nigga.
last name. And even with the Public Enemy and stuff like that, it goes back to the labels again because you had crews like Public Enemy who were like speaking on black empowerment and rebellion. These niggas would hang a stunt Klansman at their shows, bro. Even in states where they could have gotten arrested for, they're like, all right, we got the bail money. And they'd hang a Klansman at every show and then go into Rebel. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's the time, that's what I was talking about, where there was a time when hip hop was good. When they were really speaking on the issues they were being representatives for their hood. And you had Queen Latifah, UNITY, like you had AIDS awareness that was happening throughout hip hop. Like there was real good happening. And at a certain point, the labels were like, we ain't signing no more of them niggas. Yeah. Like I used to look at the Uncle Luke moment. Remember when he was in court for the profanity and the obscenities, and
he got
and he won, and I was like,
advisory.
How did he win? There's a reason he won, in my opinion. If I put my tinfoil hat on, they want us to be that raunchy. They want us to be that nasty, and I feel like that court thing just highlighted it. Yo, it's like a megaphone. Like, yo, y'all could be as nasty and dirty as y'all niggas want.
Do whatever you want as long as you slap the parental advisory seal on it.
Exactly.
But what's interesting,
so we can warn our white kids.
So what you think that would be the turning point right there? I never thought about that.
I don't know about turning point, but I do know that it's significant in where we're at now.
People should highlight that.
Because if there was a censorship around that at that time, if he didn't win that case, hip hop looks very different. Who knows if hip hop even survives?
But we're not going to get the Tupacs of the world. We're not going to get...
I think we can get the Tupac still.
Because Tupac wasn't always like that.
Tupac wasn't always like that, and not all of his music was like that. Like, he could have gotten that whole poetry book off.
Yeah, facts.
Yes, the pre-Tupacalypse Now guy. You know what I mean? Because even Tupacalypse Now was a little bit too edgy at those times for somebody like Dolores Tucker and 100%. Shit.
But like a Fresh Prince and DJ Jazzy Jeff, like...
Yeah, I couldn't live in a world where that was the standard, man. I need a little bit of my shit. I need to hear about somebody shooting somebody. And there's where my conflict comes.
This is the problem. Like,
there's no balance. It feels like there needs to be a Fresh Prince. There needs to be for every Terrence J, there needs to be a Charlamagne.
No, but you know
what I'm saying?
But you know what though? So I was listening to somebody speak about it today, and they were talking about music and music creation and how that works and why certain musics are much more popular to certain people, and it's because of the environment it's created in. I feel like because Black people have not been in the greatest environment, it would have actually been impossible to even have music in general and not have somebody talk about shooting people and killing people. Because at the end of the day, that's environment. When Will Smith and them guys made that song, they had to have caught the vibe. Even if you listen to LA music versus New York music, right? If you listen to LA music, it sounds like you're in a drop top cruising and it's good weather and it's the beach. No.
You've been programmed to think that.
No. Wait. So there's actually research done on it. So what it is, it's the environment creates the music.
Yeah, of course.
It's not the music creates the environment. It's the opposite. So that's what it is.
Yeah.
Like when you're on the subway and you're walking through New York and you listen to like Biggie Smalls, you can feel where that came from.
Yeah.
Same thing with LA. When you're on the beach and you hear those beats, you can feel that LA vibe. So I feel like it would have been impossible for music to even exist without having the other side of it, which would be the gangster side.
But nobody's arguing to the sides of it being out. I think to his point, it's like we just want what's pushed to be balanced.
But it is balanced.
No, it's
wait
not.
a
No, it's not. And the thing is,
Hip hop
like,
is
yo,
balanced?
Yo, do you think
I think it
21? Do
is.
you think
Name
21?
me 5
Hold on.
artists that speak on good things
Hold on.
and are in the
Okay.
top 10.
Okay, say what you're saying, and we'll get back to that.
Yo, so do you think 21 Savage is still living in the hood?
No, definitely not.
Do you think his music reflects where he's at in life?
No.
I think it reflects where he's at times.
I think it's a character.
I don't
At the
think
end
he
of the day.
Character.
stays in his mansion. I think because we've actually seen video proof of him on the block. Like,
Yeah.
Of course.
So it's not like it's like a made up place or anything like that. We've seen his people. So I think it's one of those where, yeah, he's going to remove himself and his family from those areas. But I think he still goes back.
But even he's become balanced too, though. Because a lot of the content that you're seeing right now from like 21 Savage is a huge artist. So he's dropping one album a year, maybe one album every 2 years. You're not going to see him as consistently anymore. But now when you do see him, what is he doing? He's singing Brandy.
Not.
That's
Bro,
just-
when you
that's
see
just-
no, I'm
that's
saying
on
that
socials,
no,
but not
but I'm
when it
saying
comes to his music.
No, but I'm saying the character of 21 Savage, which it is a character that he created. The character, first of all, he still has to put out that music because that's his character. Now, but he's balanced it, and now you associate the face with the character. Now, every time you see his face, most of the time, he's like singing Brandy or doing some stuff. So for him, that's a balancing act of all the time. It's not just this hard pussy, this every time.
I don't agree with that. I think he just really loves R&B, and he realized that after the first time it went super viral,
I gotta
that
continue.
this could be a part of my brand, and it's not one of those like. I think it's way more premeditated than you think. Like, I don't think it's one of those. Oh, I was just sitting here. Let me show them. Like, yo, I have my soft
I'm
side.
saying he purposely is balancing his character by not always being this hard gun everything. Now all the time when you see him, he's on live singing
I'd say
Brandy.
that's for
Yeah,
Gal
but
more than
also-
it's for
yeah,
us.
yeah.
Also,
And
when it comes to his
juxtaposition,
music,
you know?
right?
Them two
When you listen to 21's music earlier, like, yes, it was shoot him up, shoot him up, shoot him up, shoot him up.
Yeah.
But as he evolved and started getting more money, it's shoot him up, and I'm doing shows, getting this amount of money. I just bought a car that, like, they start incorporating parts of their life that is in the present time because, like, yeah, I'm rich now, so I'm gonna say, like, yeah, I just, we can fly off and do something like that. You ain't gonna hear that in like his first few albums,
But I
he wasn't
attribute
living that
that
way.
to just the fact that his horizons have expanded. Like
Yeah.
when you look at early Kodak interviews, early Migos interviews, early 21 interviews,
Chief
these
Keef.
niggas could not put
Couldn't even
more than
talk.
5 words together. And then they toured the world. They were forced to speak, forced to network because you gotta, after the show's done, guess what? The guy who owns this building, him and his daughter came to the show. They want a picture.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, the sponsor, him and his family are here too. They want a picture. So now you're forced to speak to people you would never in your life speak to, and you don't want to feel inferior. So you start adapting to your surroundings. And now if you listen to 21 Talk, you listen to Amigos, Kodak, all these guys, it's like they're a different person.
They can actually
Kodak,
articulate.
And you can see the confidence. Before they'd be like, slouched over. And now when they're talking like,
Talking,
hands, all that shit. Kodak Black came in a fucking ski mask.
Yeah, that interview is still legendary.
Legendary, classic. Even
Yeah.
Chief Keef's
Yeah,
interview.
legendary.
Nigga, I'm not 30, I'm 300.
300. Word.
Like, but it still was like, yo, pulling teeth for these media people to get anything out of them. And it wasn't helping it necessarily as much as it could have helped them early on. And so it's like, you're just exposing these people to more stuff. And to your point, when they do get exposed to these things, why are you not letting go of the hood shit? Like you're saying, like
But
you don't
can
live
you?
there anymore.
But can you? Because remember, like I
You
said,
can,
21
but Jay-Z
Savage is a
You
character.
know what makes money.
Okay,
Exactly.
imagine this. 21 Savage is a character, bro. So like it legitimately is a character. It's not him. It's 21 Savage, right? So if you take any show that you love, Fresh Prince, imagine if they changed it one day, like the rest of Fresh Prince, Will's gonna be Carlton and Carlton's gonna be Will.
Okay, I'll
can't
put it
change-
this way.
you can't
I'll put it
change
this
it.
way. I'll put it this way. Breaking Bad. You seen Breaking Bad?
Yeah.
21 Savage is Gus.
Got you.
Imagine how many more people live if Gus is not alive.
That's true.
You see what I'm saying? You
That's
have to
true.
put it to that
It's true.
perspective.
It's true. That's true. Yeah.
Like he's
I
not
like that
the
one.
hero in this situation.
Yeah.
When you talk about his music and what it does to people.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure there are clubs that have fights have broken out because that music's in the background.
Yeah.
And just I've been in situations where a certain song has fired a nigga up enough. He had a reason before, and now the song is put the battery in his back.
Yeah, but also like, and 21 has mentioned this also on live and different things. Like, you're not going to want to hear 20. Like, he has his fan base that has gotten used to hearing him talking about, spin the block, park it like I don't know what the freaking the lyric was, but it was some kind of gun bar. You know what I'm saying? But they've gotten used to 21 doing that. Right? Even with new fans, if they get a new 21 project, they're like, okay, this is what it's about. So if he just took a sharp left and just started talking about, I don't know, peace, everything, peace.
Some of them will go with it, but he's not willing to make that sacrifice.
Yeah, but I don't want to see 21 sad. I don't want to see Will Smith.
Why would somebody do that to just affect their ROI like crazy? Just because, like,
you're selling your soul.
Oh, come on.
But
okay, watch this.
Are you going to consume that music?
YouTube only makes you do one thing, right?
It depends. I'm different. Like, I'm not controlled by
which one's
the things that are
the most
consumed.
successful thing. There's one that stands out numbers wise above the rest.
I think reactions.
Okay.
Yeah. Like,
so if you were to just do reactions, you'd be probably in a better spot, arguably, right? Because of the algorithm. We know how the algorithm works.
Yes.
But the algorithm doesn't want you to do that. It doesn't let you do that. So if you just continue doing the reaction videos, knowing in your soul, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. Are you not killing a part of yourself every single time you have to do this?
Well, that depends. If that's what I want to do. 21 Savage may not want to be rapping about anything beyond just shooting niggas.
That's a fact.
Maybe
he might be super happy with that and maybe talking about how much money he gets. All that other shit, he's like, I want to talk about that shit.
But I also think these guys are very conscious of what they're doing. So it's like, at what point is it not Uncle Thomas?
So that brings the conversation.
At what point are you not killing your own community to just benefit yourself?
To benefit yourself, yeah.
That brings the conversation full circle right now.
Yeah.
Back to the accountability on hip hop. You said that when you were growing up, right, you listened to everything, but you liked listening to the shoot 'em up stuff.
Yeah,
right?
I was out in the streets though.
Now, should those artists then, who have at least been successful or are still successful now, should those artists not be held accountable? Because a lot of those artists have completely changed their life. Styles P is a great example. I just watched an interview with Styles P and Joe Budden. He just hit up the pod. And even Joe's like, bro, this guy being this like health guy and all this stuff, this is still Styles P. You know what I'm saying? And even Styles P admitted to parts of his life where sometimes he just didn't want to deal with certain shit. That's why he was gangster. Like, LL said the same thing. Sometimes you just caught me at the wrong time, fam. And I can now, being older, say, okay, I was wrong. I can say, I was in a bad place. You can reflect and understand where you went wrong. But if you can reflect, understand where you went wrong, change your life over to being, whatever you are now, should you not then be somewhat held accountable for the influence you gave on the youth?
But I feel like that's why a lot of niggas want to be hood, is because they don't want to be held accountable.
But
if I'm hood, I don't have to explain why I'm in the position I'm in.
Yeah.
I don't got to change who I am, which is most important. And I don't have to do what I don't want to do. If I change and become a good person, now I have responsibilities. I have a standard to uphold. And that's a lot more work than a lot of niggas are willing to do. And just people in general. That's not even just hood niggas. That's just people in general. A lot of people would rather stay the way they are, knowing that it's not good.
That's so true.
Than to change, because it requires more work.
More responsibility.
More responsibility. Think of your parents. Some of the shit that you go home and you hear every Thanksgiving, every whatever dinner, and you're like, wow, they're still thinking like that?
Yeah.
But it's like, what are you going to do at this point? You know what I mean? Like, it's wild.
And I think a lot of times we're looking to hold artists accountable for certain things that they might have already taken accountability for. Like when you really deep dive into even the people that you just mentioned, like we listen to a lot of sample size parts of conversations or music and different things like that. But when you listen to any artist album or most artist album, they're going to have by track 12 or whatever their last few songs are, about how they're so happy their life changed, and they're, you know, they might mention God a few times. The rest of the album is like fuck bitches and, you know, shoot them up and whatever and get money. But there's always going to be those reflective songs that come near the end. Yeah. You know what I mean? But ain't nobody listening to those songs like that, or nobody's pushing that as the main
Or if I
tune.
slap you 7 days a week, but then, or it's the 6 days a week, but then the 7th day I'm
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah, like to your point,
You know
like
what I'm
21
saying?
does say in a lot of his interviews, like, yo, this is wrestling. I don't mean all of this. This is
It's a
just
character.
like music.
Future
you know?
too.
Future says,
Future says I don't really
I
take
don't
drugs.
Yeah, he's
Truly.
legendary for actually coming out and saying that shit.
Yeah.
But
Because
all
he
of
was
those
like the drug
guys-
guy, and he said, "Yo,
Yeah.
I don't even do none of that."
So
shit.
what does that say to y'all?
That's my question. Though.
Like,
Should
isn't
these guys
that
not be held
fucked
accountable?
up?
Yeah, but
Because
all-
if there was only good music, do you think we wouldn't listen to it?
I think
we love
that would be
music.
our only choice.
We'd have no choice.
Yeah, we'd love
But
it.
because the option is being pushed to us
Yeah.
constantly. This is the option. And it's been made cool for so long, I think it's way too late.
But at the same time, if there was only good music, like quote unquote good music, positive vibes,
Yeah,
let's
positive
say,
music.
right? That's some kind of a utopic type of like,
Dystopian.
or,
No,
'cause
yeah, it's
life
kinda
isn't
fucked.
positive all the
Yeah,
time. So
facts,
like,
facts.
okay, so what about the stuff when I'm having a bad day? Can I have something that I can
How do you
relate
That's
to?
decide
actually,
what's
that's
enough?
actually kind of scary.
Yeah,
You know
no.
what
How
I'm
do you
saying?
decide what's enough?
That's scary.
You know what I mean?
Think
Yeah,
about
like
it.
okay, I don't want to hear none of this like happy daisy shit. Now, 'cause,
Yeah.
man, I'm having a bad day.
That
Put on
sounds
a
like
bad day
that sounds
shit.
like a Black Mirror episode.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
It would just be
crazy.
like listening to
Nosedive episode.
Teletubbies over and over
Yes.
again. You know what
That's
I'm
the
saying?
nosedive episode where they, they're doing it in China right now. It's a social credit score. So like, if you're mean to people or do bad business, then you probably can't even purchase a house.
Yeah.
Because you just don't have. You're not a good person in
Not
the eyes of the government.
socially acceptable.
I just feel like that sounds like listening to Baby Shark over and over and over again.
Facts.
So you don't think that those artists should be held accountable then?
I think, like I said, some of them they've given accountability, but people don't listen to their whole projects.
Oh, so
people listen to the hit songs. They don't listen to, like I said, track number 12, where they're like, yeah, I'm really grateful that I'm in this position. I used to live in the hood, and you know what I'm saying? Like, we
But that's
take
not
too many
atoning.
bites.
So it's controlled then, is what you're saying. It's
Yeah.
because the labels. And
We
stuff,
don't have a
they're
lot of
pushing
time to
them-
take in the full thing. A lot of people we're discussing clips most of the time. We're not discussing the full length of the content when it comes to podcasting, when it comes to music or whatever.
I be discussing the full.
Yes, but
Just-
we're in the game.
Yeah,
The audience takes the
Consumers
lyric.
get the whatever's
Yeah.
thrown at them.
But
And
even people
that's
in the
another
game-
problem is a lot of people don't even know how to find music, much
that's
less find context to a clip that they saw.
Even
They
people
use
in the game,
TikTok.
they don't watch
Stand-up
clips.
Comedy goes on social media because they dissect this 30 seconds and then listen to the 5-minute setup that led to that.
Yes.
And it's like, you can't look at this in a vacuum. Like, there's more to this
Yeah,
than what
well,
you saw.
your accountability might have been in that 5 minutes, but they heard the 30 seconds where you said some foul shit, and the foul shit is going to get the algorithm.
Yep. Like, you see what happened to Simone Biles' husband? You know,
he got killed
he
for
got
that.
killed
Yeah.
for making like one statement.
And she said it. I watched that interview.
she's the one that
She's
said
the
it.
one who said it.
Yep.
And it's also detrimental when it comes to false accusations. Because people see the accusation, they don't see we got this wrong.
The fact that you won the court
And
case.
the media doesn't, it's not like when the media sees, TMZ, what did they get wrong the other day?
Beyonce going to the DNC rally.
Yeah, the Democratic.
I guarantee you half the people did not see TMZ go, oh, my bad.
Yeah. They're not going to go post, hey guys, we got it wrong.
They're just on there watching the TV, just like, and then
Nice.
it ends like, where's Beyonce? What the fuck?
Yeah.
Where's Beyonce? And then they go on into, wow, Beyonce's a
Beyonce's not-
bitch. I can't believe she.
Yeah.
I've seen it. I've seen it. So it's like, yo, people just, I've learned to just accept that people a lot of times don't even want the full story, because if they really did want the full story, they'd look for it.
Yeah. And the cleanup never gets as much like views and traction as the initial headline.
That's
course
over
not.
facts.
Of course
Yeah,
not.
because it's like, who's gonna engage with that?
Yeah.
You know, like who wants to comment with that?
We're so
like, you can
something
get
wrong
the-
with us.
There's no
So and so got
Something wrong
arrested,
with
right?
us, bro.
Something wrong.
Do you hear everything that we talk about is positive? We go, who wants that?
wants
shit?
that?
Like, that's
Why?
the problem with us. And I don't know if it's a problem as so much as it's just like a human,
It's natural.
Human nature.
natural thing. Like, we just naturally are attracted to shit that we shouldn't be sometimes. Mostly because it's like when your parents tell you not to do something. Now you're curious, like, why can't I do that?
Yeah. Now you go do
You're
it.
hiding something
Bun
from
up
me.
yourself.
It's like engagement. You know what I mean? Like I read a book from a guy named Ryan Holiday. It's what was it called now? Trust Me, I'm Lying: The Confessions of a Media Vixen. Right? Correct me if I'm wrong about the title.
Yeah.
But he was talking about how different things that you post are going to get a certain amount of traction if it's just kind of dull and, let's say happy. But if you post something that's going to, let's say, anger people or, get them upset in any kind of way, the comment section is going to go crazy.
It can't be in the middle. I
Yeah.
find. It can't be kind of good or kind of bad. It's got to be fucking horrible or
amazing.
unbelievably amazing. Like soldiers coming home from war
Yeah.
videos and like, oh, this
Imagine her
puppy's staying in
crying.
front of the graveyard for
Or
33
your
days.
birthday.
Like,
A birthday can
Yeah,
work. Like,
you know what I
okay,
mean?
that's positive.
Yeah.
Okay, that'll get a lot of traction.
even
but
with people, like I noticed in my stories, like people will, if there's some mess going on, like there was one day I called out somebody for not paying me. I never got so much views on my story in my life. We had 2 controversial clips on the podcast. Never got so many subscribers in 1 week. So it's like you see it, especially at this level, and I begin to understand the Joe Buddens, the Akademiks, the Charlemagnes when they go on these rants because they know what it's about to do.
oh, yeah, I'm a rant
And there's
king.
really no, and when you're rich, there's really no consequence that's coming from that. You guys aren't seeing me on road. If you see me, I got security with me.
Yeah.
And I'm in and out doing whatever I got to do and I'm out. Like, so it's like, if you can subscribe to that lifestyle where you're okay with putting away all the extra stuff, you can say whatever the fuck you want. And those guys are the ones that are most successful, but they can't leave their house.
Yeah. They
Dude,
can't
I
be
do this
normal.
now, and
Can't be normal.
I don't got security. I have multiple rants per month.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And part
But
of it.
see, we're in Toronto. I think they feel like we need that.
Yeah, I feel like Toronto does need you. So for
Yeah.
an artist to get mad at you, it's like you can't.
Yeah,
hear.
but they've gotten mad at me.
No, but to do something,
What's
they
the
get
dude?
mad.
Yeah, they get
but
mad,
getting
but-
mad at you is also engagement.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? They'd rather do that online than in person. In person, there's no benefit to them.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
But doing it on the internet, that gives them content. Yo, I was gonna be chilling today, smoking,
Yeah.
not
Now
doing
I'm beefing
anything,
with Friday.
and now I'm beefing with Friday. Like, and now everybody's talking. Now I can do an Instagram live. I can do a Spaces. I can go on Clubhouse.
Fact.
Like,
Yeah.
it's giving them something to do because nobody else is really paying attention
Yeah.
to us like that.
What's been one of the worst situations that's happened to you?
That's a good one.
You don't have to say names. This situation.
Yeah, no name. Yeah, exactly.
Nah.
no
It's
name.
the
Like
Bleepless
situations that happen because
Bleepless pod,
nothing's
yo.
ever happened to me. Right? Let's get that clear. Nothing's ever happened to me where
Pocket
I had to like
dog.
duck bullets or somebody try to swing on me or anything
Friday.
crazy like that. Where's my camera? Is this one over here?
Friday.
That ain't happening over here, okay?
Not the
Ain't nobody putting a
Thursday,
damn
not the
finger on me.
Saturday.
Okay? However, I've been DM'd, I've been threatened in DM telling me that, they'll unalive me multiple times, multiple artists. Take that story down or else. I've had burners flashed in via DMs and stuff like that, and actually on feeds. You know what I'm saying? Where my name was tagged.
Look, you're a real guy, bro.
That's
Because
crazy.
Yeah,
certain
that's kinda
people,
crazy.
man, like academics, straight to the police.
Yeah. Facts.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's like a lot of times I'll speak to that same person behind the scenes, and rather than get on some rah shit like what? So what? See me when you see me. I end up usually calming it down.
Yeah.
Like, bro, it's not that serious.
Do your
Like,
job.
Because it really
You know,
isn't that
yeah.
serious. Like maybe you didn't have the full context.
Yeah.
But
and I
tell
take
me
shit
the full
down.
context.
And
And,
I've
then I
taken-
can clean it up.
And I take a lot of shit down.
Yeah.
I've taken a lot of content down. Like, I'm not an asshole where I'm just gonna stand on it. Like, nah, bro. Okay, if it's making it hot for you right now, like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Right. And then there's other times where I'm like, okay, if you want me to take it down, ante up.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
And it's honestly, in a way too, it's also a way to build a relationship with one of the top people in media in the city.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you have a problem with, you can just reach out and then now you have a relationship.
Exactly.
Hey, you can reach out, hey, I'm dropping this. Boom. You know what I'm saying? Like, it can work out in the best way too. Man,
No,
like,
I've beefed with rappers and then actually had interviews with them.
Yeah.
Right? Like Young Tory, we used to go back and forth in the DMs crazy. Like, not back and forth. I wake up and I'm just getting,
20.
yo, bitch, nigga, fuck you. You know what I'm saying? Calling me all kind of F
Midnight.
slurs. And I'm not talking like the F-U-C-Ks. I'm talking the other F slurs. Like, I'm like, whoa, bro, calm down. Like, it's not that serious. And like, I was thinking to myself, if I see this guy, we probably going to fight because not only that he's mad, I'm not taking the words too lightly neither. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We've had a full interview where we've gotten through our differences on camera. You know what I'm saying? Once, you know, behind the scenes, we've gotten over our differences, I'll say, yo, come on camera. You can yell at him. I mean, all you fucking want.
See, and that's all content,
content
right there, especially because Carisha and the Academics about to do the same thing right
No,
now.
I think that's a lineup.
I thought so too.
I think they're trying to line up.
The way she said it, I was
Bro,
like, nah,
she's
I
best
think
friends
he's
with
trying to
Saucy
get
Santana,
lied, man.
You ever seen the video of Academics crying?
Bro,
Bro,
even
I've never
Joe
seen him
going
so
to Yachty, I was like, that's brave.
That was a big podcast.
Yeah.
Joe going to Yachty, I was like, that. I wonder if he brought security with him because that's kind of brave. Could have
And
got
he was
lied.
in Atlanta. He definitely had security. He's in Atlanta.
Could have got lied.
Yeah,
Like,
Sure.
Could have been bad.
For sure. Because, that was pretty bad between Joe and Yachty. But
Well, no,
It
mostly
wasn't
between
bad.
Drake. It's mostly because of Drake. I was thinking that.
Oh, but
Yeah.
I remember there was beef from way back when with Migos and things.
Yeah, remember-
Oh
They
yeah,
struggle?
yeah.
They
But I
made
don't think that
QC.
was anything. I don't think that Yachty
That's
was.
probably blew over.
No.
Think
It was
about that at
it was
all.
that legendary Everyday Struggle episode
Yeah.
where that's
Chill.
Yachty. That was Joe's first interview ever with the artist, which
Yeah.
people don't know. And then that was one of Yachty's first, interviews on that type of platform. And the man's there screaming at him, yelling at him. But for him to go
Legend.
back, that was full circle. I fuck with that. That was
it was a
so
good
fire.
pod.
That
It
was,
a
dope. That was a good
pod.
pod. What y'all think of Joe Budden's reaction to the Dr. Umar content?
Let me say something quick about that. Okay.
Clear the pink.
One-
Clear the pink.
I was watching I was listening to the reaction actually, and I really don't like the fact that he didn't mention your names, bro.
No, he's
like
not
he
doing
went
that.
straight for Mouse Jones' neck, and I know he didn't mention Mouse neither because I guess they have some kind of issue going on. But
But in that clip that went viral,
He didn't know that it was even not
didn't know
Mouse's
whose
podcast.
yeah.
this is what I'm saying, bro.
Yeah.
Give credit to like you guys brought Dr. Umar out, man. Like, come on, man. That's a big deal. And
okay.
like people are reacting to the clip and not giving y'all the credit. And y'all deserve the fucking credit for that.
Yeah.
And Joe knows that he got it from somewhere. He didn't get it from Mouse.
No,
I think
but the
he's a
clip,
little
to
bit
be
more
fair, the clip went viral on Twitter. It went
Yeah.
viral a couple
It went
places.
viral on other
So it's like they're
pages.
just looking at the clip
Yeah.
itself. so
And
they're not really
I
looking at
will
the
say
whole pod.
also, low key, I wasn't completely up on game until y'all niggas hit me up too, and I was like, "Oh, y'all from over here, okay."
Yeah.
And then when I watched the whole interview, I was like, "Oh yeah, I can hear the Toronto on y'all niggas right now." You know what I'm saying?
Word,
But
word.
in the clip, I didn't know neither. But
Yeah.
I
How
guess,
did it come together?
I'll give him the benefit of the doubt though, because he did actually say, like I watched the entire podcast. He did actually say from the beginning of that podcast, they weren't prepared. Like for the pod. They usually have their
They had
notes,
no
their
board,
whiteboard.
yeah.
They had no whiteboard. And at the same time too, he did kind of give credit on the conversation where he's like, bro, I should have brought this up as the
Yeah.
first convo.
Yeah.
Which I know they would have spent a good 2 hours on, but
Yeah.
just say the name.
But yeah,
B.
How did everything come together? Tell the story.
Well, first to end your point, I want to give a shout out to Amani because Amani listened to the whole contest. So shout out to Amani.
Shout out to Amani.
Yeah,
Amani
how we came
music.
together, man. So Dr. Umar was supposed to come to Toronto months ago. And I hit him up to say, yo, you're gonna come to Toronto? Let's do an interview. And he's like, down on bet. Here's the details of it. Okay, cool. He hits me up and says, yo, I can't come to Toronto anymore. Something's up with my passport. I gotta stay in the US. I said, damn. I said, you know what? If you're not gonna come, we'll go to you.
Sick.
You know?
Serious about it.
Serious about it. Where so Hada Isaac figured out all the details. I'm like, all right, how can I make this happen? How can I like finesse it? I'm like, all right, I don't want to spend too much money. So I figured out all my points from all my credit cards, maxed that out, and got the flights on Air Canada. Yeah, I was actually at my first class flight because I used all the points up that I had
Oh,
for the
shit.
last like 4 years.
Nice.
Just grinding.
First
so.
class, his man spent all his points on an
Man
hour,
spent all of it.
hour
flight.
flight.
Splurged it on a 45
I'm
minute
like,
flight.
this is the one.
So it was in New York?
No, it was New
It was
Jersey.
Newark.
In
Yeah,
Jersey,
it was
okay.
New Jersey.
Close,
Okay.
close enough, yeah.
But we just
Close
said
enough,
New
same
York
thing.
to sound cooler.
Yeah, exactly.
I said
Word.
New York.
Yeah, you said New York. Yeah, fact. So, we got the flight on, got there to Airbnb. The Airbnb was decent.
It was actually, you know what? The Airbnb wasn't bad because it was 8 minutes from the airport.
Facts.
Nice.
So it was like honestly, it was just like a regular 2-bedroom apartment, but
Yeah.
it's fire because it's right there.
Yeah,
Right
yeah.
there.
You know
And it
what
was
I
like
mean?
5 minutes from the spot.
From
5
5
to 10
minutes from the spot, yeah.
Where so it wasn't no like luxurious thing. It was just like, all right, we in and we out, rented a car, got there, got to a studio. We actually found the studio. Actually, the Dr. Umar hooked us up with the studio too.
Yeah.
Nice.
Shout out to Dr. Umar for that. And I was really nervous actually because with that, you don't know what you're gonna get from a studio. As a podcaster, you know some studios are good.
Yeah,
Some
yeah.
studios are not so good.
Yeah, yeah.
And we're
You know?
traveling all the way out there to go to this random
Yeah,
place
yeah,
we've
yeah.
never seen it. It's like
Oh, you guys didn't even get pictures.
I got pictures. I got
Oh,
pictures.
okay. I ain't seen
I was vetting for my life. I was like, what equipment do you have? What cameras do you have?
Yeah.
What's the style sound like? So luckily, that spot, it was low key one of the most interesting spots because you look at it, it looks like a factory on the outside.
Yeah.
You go in and it's like
different rooms.
different rooms of booths,
Sick.
lounges. So where we were was one of those spots. So we got lucky there. Shout out to Iman, the guy who helped us, another black man, super
100. Solid.
Solid
Solid
yeah.
guy. He's like, remember the money thing? He's like, bro, I want to be paid in Canadian. Like, I've
Yeah.
never seen this money before.
Yeah.
Bro.
Pay me in Canadian. It's like,
Which American man says he wants the Canadian
Yeah,
dollars?
yeah.
That's rare as hell.
That's sick.
Yeah.
So that was fire. And Dr. Umar got there, we set up, and luckily everything just worked out. It was interesting too, was that Mouse was not supposed to be in that episode.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm wondering. How did my mouse come in?
It
Here?
was an odd
it
combination.
was very odd. It was very odd.
So the way I was kind of, my mind was like, all right, if I'm going to New York to interview this guy, let's do more people.
Yeah.
So I was pitching bare people to come on the show, and Mouse agreed to it. And the way Mouse agreed to it, I'm like, when someone says yes but it's a shaky yes?
yeah.
I'm like, I ain't a yes.
Yeah,
I'm tired of getting no's. How do I get a yes? I'm like, why don't I just get Mouse to come on Dr. Umar?
Yeah.
I'm like, hold on, but wait, this is perfect. Mouse and Dr. Umar would be great together.
Yeah.
So I said, yo, would you want to come early and be on the episode of Dr. Umar? And he's like, what?
And that was
Absolutely.
last minute too, because we
Word.
were gonna shoot him a whole separate day.
Exactly.
And now you got the real
You know what I
yes.
mean?
Exactly. Now you got the real yes.
Absolutely.
He ordered your Uber immediately.
That's fine. Where's your address?
exactly. So then I'm like, all right, okay, boom, we got Mouse in. Mouse came and he was super kind, super. Everyone was just like,
Everyone was
Mouse is
100.
cool.
Even
100.
Dr. Umar
Yeah,
was
yeah.
100.
Yeah,
I
Dr.
thought
Umar
that was
was
an act. Like even at the end of the pod, I had to be like, yo, I appreciate you for actually like he's never gotten up off a pod like I'm leaving.
Yeah.
He did that like 4 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had to cut out some of that shit because it
Yeah.
was like crazy.
Word.
Like he's
This-
never turned up like that ever. So for him to
Nice.
come and give us that energy
Yeah.
was crazy. Like I wasn't expecting it. I had to tell him, I'm like, bro, you're a good marketer. A lot of people think that this is an act.
Yeah.
It's not an
It's just a
act.
real passion.
He's just really
just
like
real
that. For
passion.
real.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So let me ask you all a quick question now because that's moving around. I looked at the other day. I'm a view watcher. You know what I'm saying? I seen it like around 145. Now I see like 225. What's the feeling like? Y'all could keep an eye on that refresh.
yo, I can't lie, I'm refreshing like hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, because even though I use points, I still spent quite a lot of money to make it happen.
At least
you
you're
know?
recouping it.
Yeah, recouping some of it, So
Yeah.
it's not there yet. So hopefully I can recoup. But it was an investment. It really was an investment.
Paid off.
I think so. I think I'm getting calls from different people. The brands are starting to give me a little bit more attention, but it's not there yet. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of people get the opportunity of having a big moment, a windfall moment, but now it's like opening it up. That's why I wanted y'all on the show because I'm like, yo, if I get the attention, I would bring it back to the city. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you, man. Appreciate
Yeah, I
Facts.
definitely wanted to bring y'all on for that reason.
One more question on that, right? And no pocket watching. Yellow or green dollar sign?
Green.
Let's go! Let's go!
For
Yo,
me,
you know what's funny? It's funny you mention that. So
Because he said there was a lot of fucks in that interview. I was like, ooh.
So bro, so it's funny you say that. So I was hella nervous about posting that. And so here's the thing. But I have a MacBook, right?
Especially because they said the J word mad times.
Ooh, that too.
That's where I was like,
wait, what's the J word?
hey,
Think
man,
about- think
it's a
about- think
three-letter
about
word,
the
brother.
hats, right?
Oh yeah.
So I was editing. I actually bought a Mac Mini to edit on, right? But I got the wrong one, so I had to return it, right? And I had to edit on my actual laptop, which is an 8 gigabyte computer.
Oh no.
Trash.
Exactly. So once I returned the Mac Mini, I was stuck with the part 2 without it edited. What I had was like without the customs edited part. Pardon me. You get me? So I uploaded it, unlisted, and let it sit. So I'm like, yo, I gotta get out these cusses, or else I'm not gonna be monetized.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I'm letting it sit. I'm trying to get it into.
And you already did the request for human review.
No, so here's the thing.
I request every blood clot for review.
Request for
Every
review.
single thing.
So here's the finesse. In unlisted, it doesn't have that. In
What you
unlisted,
mean?
In unlisted, it doesn't have the
Yeah, when
request
you
for
upload
review.
it as enlisted.
When you
Facts.
enlist it
Yeah, no,
as
you have to make it
unlisted,
public for it to do it.
you have to make it public. So I uploaded it as unlisted because you know what I was doing? I was sending it to an editor, but the editor was on some bullshit. So I fucking edit it myself.
Yeah.
But then I returned the Mac Mini, so all I had was 8 gig.
Yeah.
So I'm still struggling. I can't upload it. I can't do nothing
Freeze.
with it.
Yeah.
Freeze. Every 5 seconds. Freeze.
Yeah.
So I'm stuck with it. So I'm like, yo,
This is hell.
this is word. You feeling me? So I'm looking at it, I'm like, dog, what am I gonna do? I look on the YouTube and the unlisted has a green $sign. And I'm like, but wait.
Yeah.
Well, if the first 15 to 20 minutes,
minutes,
started
yeah.
off really well, then
good.
you're good.
And you're good. Exactly. And I remember I took some cusses up from the intro, but I didn't take out it from the back part. So the $sign was green. I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm just gonna pray.
It stays that way.
It stays that way.
Yeah, and
So
just the correction also, like while you're uploading, no, you can't, check to see if it's going to monetize or not. But once it's completely uploaded, whether it's published or not, like you get to, make your decision or like do your appeals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And some people just publicize anyway. But sometimes you could just wait until that shit turns
I
green.
always wonder
Hopefully.
if I publish it anyways after they review it and it's still yellow. I'm like, is this gonna is there some points that get knocked off my
No,
shit?
no.
Visibility lost if I have like a copyright video.
But here's the thing with YouTube, how they mess you up. You can start accumulating, let's say, while it's yellow, you'll start getting 10,000 views.
Oh yeah,
right?
that's the worst.
And then
slows
they'll
down.
say green.
And it's slowed down already.
It's already,
already
the peak time's already over.
time's gone.
They're not going to give you back that
Every
money
time,
retroactively for the
Yeah.
10,000.
Every time.
Crazy.
Right? You're still getting fuck all for the first 10,000, and then maybe you'll start making some money later.
And it's always a video you're like, oh, this one right
gonna
here,
go
crazy.
this one right here gonna go crazy.
yeah.
And they
Upload
can spin
red.
the block again. And I don't want to worry any of you guys, okay? Because it could be green, and then later on,
Yeah,
a year later, they spin the block and say, yo, that's yellow.
they've done that bare
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
Bare times.
And that shit hurts, man.
Yeah, it hurts for sure.
Because especially when you're doing long form content, it's like, oh, we'll get to that later,
Yeah.
and they do get to it later.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those,
yeah.
yo, that's who I want on a podcast.
Those guys
I
be
need
watching
the
all the
YouTube. I need not even the
human review person.
Moderators?
quality control.
control?
The people who have to see the beheadings,
Oh
the,
my God,
the
yeah.
nasty sexual acts that
Yeah.
try to get uploaded on YouTube, and have to watch it, then disprove it. Because imagine it doesn't. It goes slowly, and you have to watch like 5-10 minutes. Like they all need therapy.
100%.
The disgusting things they'd see every day, bro.
For sure.
I need to see that room. I need to see those people.
And just
Yeah.
listening to you guys, because we were talking about like the opportunity to shoot Umar. For you guys are all like potters for real. Like I'm a cameraman, right? So the opportunity for me was way different.
Yeah.
Because first of all, he called me out to shoot the podcast. He gave me the opportunity to be on it, which is super dope. And even I think about things mad deep. So even just the way we met was just so random. Like
Dr.
these guys,
Umar rally.
These guys asked me for like a crazy discount that I wasn't giving at that time. I don't know why I said yes.
For what?
Like when we met.
Oh, for camera. Okay.
To be the cameraman
Yeah,
for the
yeah,
pod.
yeah.
Like when we met, they asked me for a crazy discount, and I was like, I don't even know why I said. To this day, I don't know why I said that.
That
But
happens, man.
I want this. Like I want just this opportunity for anybody out there who is actually grinding for something. Take the opportunities that you receive, because you never know where it's gonna line you up or end up. I gave this guy a discount. I end up shooting the next 100 episode of his pod. I got to sit down and talk to Dr. Umar, which is going crazy. I've gone viral on your podcast, just me and you chopping it up.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's so many people out there that don't actually just go and do that thing that they really want to do.
Yeah.
I'm one of the people that have, and it's really led me into so many amazing, like, bro, I'm sitting down with you. I don't know if you guys know, you guys are legends.
Salute.
Appreciate it.
For real. Like I'm sitting down with two legends from my city. like
But also
all
have
from that opportunity.
you have to have
bro.
discernment as well.
Of course.
Because I feel like you could feel that he was a good guy.
I felt the energy because
Yeah.
the thing is even what they were calling me to come shoot, I was like, okay, and a
That's kinda
podcaster
different.
hasn't called me to come shoot it was like a Black creators event or something like that. Like a podcaster hasn't even asked me to do that yet.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at it like, you know what? Okay, this is an opportunity that maybe it could do something.
Yeah.
They were not liable to call me back ever again. The footage that we shot was trash anyways because
Yeah.
it was your cameras, not mine. But it was trash anyways. There's a lot of things that went wrong in that situation. But to end up shooting how many ever episodes we've shot since then, shoot Dr. Umar and be here right now beside two legends, like, bro, take the opportunities that you get and just continue your persistence, continue grinding whatever goal it is. And I'm telling you, God, if you want to say God, you want to say the universe, God rewards persistence. And that's just a
for sure.
fact.
Definitely.
For sure. I even, you know, and salute to you for the kind words, bro. Like when you mentioned like Marlon and myself, like I was saying on the way in, right? Like I rate Marlon and I rate myself too, because like when I talk about podding in this city, like I want so much podcast to exist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not a hater. I'm not like, oh, well, another podcast out here. Oh, we got to crush them. Nah, be like, come on in. We need to have an infrastructure where there's like 10 places for artists to be able to go and do interviews. And like over the years, like the only other person I see is Marlon, right? And I say Marlon because salute to Extra Gravy, but like myself, there's been different iterations of the pod. You know what I'm saying? I've been watching you from Marlon and Jason times.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like you've had multiple or different hosts that have come in and out and different things like that. And myself the same.
Yeah.
And it's just a testament like, yo, if you have a vision and you're sticking to it, there's nothing that's going to stop us from doing this pod shit, bro.
It's a fact.
You know what I'm saying?
It's a fact.
And it's
I
like,
do it by myself. I don't. I really
yeah,
don't care.
bro.
I just
It's
love doing it.
persistence.
I just
It's
love
the
doing it. It's
persistence.
persistent, but it's like it's easy to be persistent when you look forward to it every week.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I
actually
mean?
love
Like
it.
if you actually don't love it and it felt like a job or a chore,
Yeah.
bro, you know how much shit I could be doing on a Tuesday night, man. Like
Yeah.
I haven't had a Tuesday night in 7 years, bro.
Yeah.
So it's like I'll take probably 1 or 2 Tuesdays off a year, and the rest of it you're just getting content from me. So it's like for me, it's more so like finding something you love, because if you just keep doing it, like it's very cliche to say, but finding something you love doesn't feel like work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It feels
Facts.
like I come to chop the shit. And especially with like-minded people where it's like you don't get to talk to people who are privy to stuff that you're seeing every day. We don't share algorithms with just anybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you can come together with someone who has a shared algorithm, like, yo, you saw this? Yeah, yo. Like, think of how many things you've seen on Twitter or on Instagram that you said to somebody and they're like, what?
What the fuck is
And
this?
immediately you thought, wow, that's so stupid. Why would I even bring that up?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it sounds dumb now when you're talking to people who aren't in that world.
Yeah.
But when you're talking to people in that, you guys can get, it's just like if you're a comic book fan, you can go to Fan Expo or some shit. Now you're just like, holy shit, I could talk about this with anyone here. That's a great feeling. So
Yeah.
that's why I do it. And we love hip hop. You guys have been exactly what the city needs.
Salute.
Because
Facts.
like if you guys weren't doing, I really don't think anybody else, there would be a place for these artists to go for real.
Yeah.
And really tell their stories. Not much music. You know what I mean? Not
20 minutes.
yeah, you know what I
quick,
mean? Like
chopped
doing
up.
some fucking TikTok game.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
yeah.
they're actually really getting to the shits.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, we need these things. Like he said, like we need an ecosystem in this city of viable, reputable, credible places that artists can come to and be like, all right, PR person, what do we got on the docket today? Yo, they're gonna go to We Love Hip Hop. Then we got to go to CP24.
Yeah.
Then we're gonna shoot over to Extra Gravy. We got to do hustle over everything,
Yeah.
and we're just gonna pop in, because that's what. There's no incentive for them to come here.
Yeah. Celebrities should be doing that. When they come to Toronto, they should be doing that. When celebrities go to New York, they're touching all those podcasts. They're touching all,
But it's not
rep
even just all
everything.
those podcasts. It's different types.
Yeah, all
like
the
it's different
different-
types of
yeah.
media.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you could have 30 podcasts. If we're all talking about the same thing, they're only
Yeah.
going to 2.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's like if we have a variety of different shows, podcasts, influencers, excuse me, you name it. As long as we have a variety, there's reason for them to be here.
Yeah,
I agree.
Facts.
Yeah.
And reason for them to invest time, concerts, and really give you guys more of themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bro,
The
that's
time is
so,
now.
that's so
The
true.
time is
And there's
now.
so many different lanes that I don't think that enough Toronto mans are in.
Yeah.
There's no murder man person right now.
Yeah.
There's no sex podcast.
Dude, you know
that's
what I want to
popping.
actually make a show about?
There is a sex podcast to pop in.
Which one?
Pillow Talk with Ryan, I can't remember his name. It's this white guy.
Ryan
It's
Holler.
blown up. Like they're millions.
Really?
Shout out to
Yeah,
them.
Yeah, but are they?
Shout out to
He's
them.
a
He moved to
Toronto
LA, I
man,
think.
but like his
He's
podcast
in the
is based in
States.
LA.
Well, now,
Got you.
now
Yeah.
it is. Now it is.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
now that
Yeah.
they
Got
had
you,
Chroma's on there, and that was a huge episode for them. Like
Okay.
they basically get porn stars on there.
yeah,
Got you.
And talk about just sex.
the-
and
yeah.
shit
He
like
goes
that.
to the AVN Awards, all types of
Yeah.
shit.
I had an
Got you,
idea
got
to
you.
do, you know, like all
But
those
still
like,
white people for the most part. So I know no black
You
sex
know,
pod.
exactly.
There's no horrible decisions.
I was about to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not even
Yeah.
horrible
Beautiful man to
decision. We
be.
need a dirty street confessions here.
That too.
Or
We
you
need
know,
dirty street
Angela
confessions
Angela
here, bro.
Yee lip service.
They
Yeah,
were.
yeah,
I was
yeah,
about to
yeah.
mention that because Tyrese was just on that. He was just on Breakfast Club. He was just on like
$1 Million
a whole bunch-
worth of game.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like
yeah.
it needs to be
All these
lanes,
different ones in the
word.
same place.
Exactly.
I had an idea. I don't know. Tell me if you guys think this is sick. You know all those shows like Love is Blind and like
Oh,
Love
yeah.
Island and shit? I want to make a show that's like hood mans. Not hood mans, but like black
be hard.
guys
The contrast.
talking about
Yeah.
that stuff.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of us that are very interested in it. A lot of
me.
us have girlfriends.
I watch that
who
shit
be watching it all the
religiously.
time.
Yeah.
To get our perspective on it, I think would be fire. So I'm gonna test out the idea with a few friends and see what happens. But I just
Yeah.
feel like we need more variety in the city, bro. 'Cause,
Absolutely.
Yo,
I agree.
Toronto is a worldwide stage.
Because if
People
we have
everywhere
that
know.
show, some of those people
Come
on
here.
those shows when they doing press and they come here, they have a place to go.
Yeah.
So
Facts.
right now it's like you look out at the landscape and there's not really like, oh, I have to go here for this specific thing. There's not a lot of that. So it's like it's few and far between.
Yeah.
And yeah, I
There's
we
nowhere to
need
do
variety.
a press
The time
run.
is now, though.
Yeah, a real
press
real
run.
press run. Like
Yes.
we don't have it on the radar.
Yeah, facts.
You know what I mean?
We
Like,
do.
why don't
There's
we have
Solid
it
was
on the
doing their
radar?
thing for a while, but
But
No,
see,
no,
these
no.
things burn out, like
Violence.
or they're inconsistent. They'll
Word.
do Six Buzz had like a little thing that they did.
yeah, it's politics.
Never seen it again.
Always
Yeah,
politics.
there is Studio of Legends though. Salute to them. Those guys, they've been putting out content.
out
It's
to
just having that, and amplifying that, and amplifying like all of us what we're doing.
Yeah.
so that we're getting the kind of view counts that like the
Yeah.
people that we're talking about down in the
Academics
States.
and the Joes.
Yeah.
You know,
All these
Angela
guys.
E lip service, like they're good for at least a 50,000 of an episode. You know what I'm saying?
If there's people doing it, I will watch. Like I watch all those Toronto hood documentaries on YouTube.
I do too.
Like I pre all of them. So it's
Legendary.
like it's interesting to me because it's my city. Even if I don't know, I'm not attached to the lifestyle or whatever. Because it's my city, I'm like, oh, okay, I want to find out. Like, and it doesn't even just have to be hood stuff. Like I'm currently reading a book on Toronto right now, like the history of Toronto.
Yeah.
And like just learning more about my city is interesting to me. And I feel like we've gotten to a point in the city where we've instilled in ourselves, we have enough confidence in ourselves to know that we stand out, we're unique, we're not like everywhere else.
Yeah.
And we're pretty dope as well. It's not like back in before Drake times where
Yeah.
we had this little brother inferiority complex
Yeah.
where we're like, no, we can't stand up with these guys. Now we see them using our slang.
Yeah.
You know what I
Facts.
mean? So it's like,
I see people commenting Crody on things that have nothing to do with Toronto.
Facts.
I literally went to this person's page the other day and it was like a white girl from like Minnesota. And she's like, no problem, Crody.
people in
I was
Texas
like,
saying
bro,
ting.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Tings,
So it's
like all
like-
that type of
Went
stuff.
crazy.
I'd never seen that before in my life. Like
Yeah.
we always wanted to emulate them. Now they're trying to emulate us.
Yeah.
So, but like as us doing podcasting here, what do y'all think the ceiling is for people outside of Canada to be interested in Canadian voices or even topics on Canada?
I think for me personally, the
And I'm talking about view count wise. Let's just do that to make it a number that we can like put a number on, basically.
Well, I mean, when and I mean it's a horrible example, but Top 5 was out. I feel like there was a lot more eyes on Toronto
because academics was
because
posted all
academics,
that
was,
stuff.
but
Yeah.
because there was Wahala going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you need that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
To garner any real attention, you need a guy like Top 5 who's really willing to crash out on Instagram Live,
Yeah.
for the entertainment.
Yeah. Because even when you mention him, like I screen recorded a lot of that Akademiks Twitch stream thing.
Yeah.
And I have clips from that. And I was screen recording it and clipping it up in real time.
Yeah.
So like an hour would go by, stop the screen recording, start it back over, and then start uploading the content. You know what I'm saying? So there would be still streaming and I'm uploading YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Some of those YouTube videos are 100,000 plus views on.
And you need that.
Right?
You need that to happen. They're doing that in America all the time. So
Yeah.
it's like it works.
It's
Works.
like a population to crash out ratio.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? More population, more crash outs. So like there's enough media to cover the crash outs and handpick them.
The problem with us is population size.
that's about to say.
we're the size of LA.
We're the biggest little
California.
city.
Yeah,
We're
California,
not
sorry.
even, we're not. Well, yeah, Canada as a whole. They have more now than Canada as a whole. So it's like I always say, Toronto's the biggest little city.
Yeah.
Like
In the world.
in the world. We're a huge city in terms of notoriety, but very small.
Very small.
Like it's 1 degree of separation between most people.
Like I went to a Caravana event and I was walking past. It was at Rebel. I was walking past. I'm like, that's I can hear Marlon's voice right there, yo. I swear, that's how small this city
Yeah,
is.
man. And it's like when you have that factor, you can't go crazy like you see a lot of people do in America. Niggas be entire states away talking shit about each other.
yeah.
Or like even if they're in the same city, there is so much people here you might never see me unless you really are pre in my actions.
Yeah.
Whereas Toronto, I could bump into you anywhere, nigga. Like
Facts.
Yeah.
if you live here, I know within this 10-mile radius, I could bump into you.
But like for people outside of Toronto, right? I'm always interested to see because we get content, we get audiences that come from outside of Toronto, especially like right now since that post Kendrick Drake beef, we got a lot of people that are coming in from LA and different places, right? But there's certain topics they give no shits about when we talk about, and then when we talk about other things, then they're all tapped in.
And that's what I was gonna say. I think our ceiling is gonna be as big as the people that come out of here. So fortunately, we have the biggest artists,
yes.
right? And that's why we had so many eyes on us during this last 4 months, 5 months period. I think as more people from the city start to blow up, then our ecosystem within the media space will follow. The problem is that they aren't in tune with what's happening here.
Yeah.
So they're not going to be in tune with when we talk about it. Like
I think
that.
they
You know what
don't
I mean?
understand us.
Bro, okay.
I think that's the major thing is like we as the media people have to do a better job of shaping what Toronto is. So like, for example, when Shit Toronto People Say came out, the amount of people that were in my DMs saying, yo, I watched your video. I'm coming to Toronto. I had to see how to speak and like get the lingo and shit down. It's because they're interested. They're very curious. It's not that like they're just doing it for fun. They genuinely want to know. It's like going to Jamaica and hearing white people speaking patois with the natives. It's like they want to learn how to say bumbleclap properly. Like they wanna be very much more in tune so that they feel more comfortable. Because think of all the times if you went to a Spanish-speaking country on vacation, but you speak Spanish, you'd feel way more secure with yourself being there as opposed to going somewhere where they speak French. Where you're like, oh fuck, okay, man, I gotta get my translator out. I gotta get somebody that knows French. Like, so it's a way more secure thing when they understand who we as Torontonians are. They still don't even understand why we speak the way we speak.
Yeah. No, but they genuinely, so what I realized during that Dr. Umar interview, and we spoke about this already, but we didn't even, we already did this pod, and then shit started going viral. We're like, yo, come back, let's do it again. But we spoke about this, and I was saying, I'm like, one thing that I really saw from them is they actually don't understand anything about us, first of all, but they also don't understand much other cultures than American. The reason why I say this, bro, they genuinely don't understand why Drake is okay going and doing like dancehall tracks.
Yeah.
Or going and speaking, like saying wallahi, whatever it is. They genuinely don't understand. Like they genuinely
Which
say
is
he's
why,
a
which is why I
cosplayer.
said
Like,
that like
they don't get it.
Which is why I said he's basically, when Kendrick is dissing him, he's not dissing just Drake. People are thinking I'm defending Drake. No, I'm defending me, nigga.
That's what I said
You
in the
guys
pod.
are saying shit that is triggering me because it's me you're kind of talking to.
Thank you.
There you
When
go.
you're talking
Thank
to
you.
Drake, and this is why I want Toronto people to understand who are so
On
they're
Kendrick's
so
Kendrick's
passive
side.
with people disrespecting the city.
Yeah.
They're dissing you. They're not just dissing Drake.
Bro.
Talk the
when
thing,
a nigga
bro.
says, yo, I'll never let a Canadian nigga let Pac turn in his grave. He's not just talking about Drake. He's saying, yo,
Canadian.
what Canadians have the right to even be in this conversation?
Facts.
As if Canadians weren't there at the start of hip hop.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that.
As if we weren't there at the start. As if a lot of these niggas who do the Jamaican samples, say Jamaican things in their shit, weren't doing that because of Mishi Me.
Bro, the first female
Like,
artist.
First
signed by a
priority
major-
family.
Foxy Brown
Bro.
it only ran because of Mishi Me.
Facts.
These are things where I'm like, the cognitive dissonance, the separation that they can do and not put things together.
Yeah.
Like
But-
2 + 2 is clearly 4.
But you know what I
Yeah.
realized
But they
though?
don't see the 2 even being in the same equation.
Yeah.
You know what I
yeah.
realized? And it's something that Mouse Jones said to me that it literally unlocked this thing in my brain. So he said he hadn't left his block in, I think it was Brooklyn or the Bronx or wherever he grew up until he started to get some success.
Wow.
He literally was only there.
Yeah.
So his whole entire opinion, the way he moved, everything was shaped by his surroundings. For us, bro, our surroundings just naturally growing up in Toronto. Bro, I went to school with bare Afghans. I went to school with bare Indians. I went to school with bare Chinese. I went to school with all these other cultures that I genuinely understand because I was raised around them. For us, it's normal to hear a brown man say Wagwan.
Yeah.
So when we hear Drake go and start speaking patois or doing whatever he's doing, we like that so much because that's us. That's how we are.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But they genuinely don't understand it because a lot of the people who have a lot of say and a lot of voice and power within America, they're literally American, like great grandparents, American, first of all. Second of all, they're not open to other cultures because as much as America is integrated, it's very segregated.
Which is, it's more shocking when it's New York than any other place for me.
Yeah.
Because New York is extremely diverse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're
With
still
entire
segregated.
communities that uphold traditions
Yeah.
on the block. Like, I mean, harder than we do here.
Yeah.
So it's like, for me, it's jarring when I hear people from New York say shit like that. And it just goes to show how heavy the patriotism
Yeah.
is soaked in.
Yeah.
And it's like, I get it. Listen, if I was American, I would think I'm the shit too. And why do I need to learn about anywhere else?
Mm-hmm.
I'm from the best place. Why do I need to learn about anywhere else? You know what I mean? So I get that internal arrogance that is just like you're born with because of what your country has produced. But then when you learn also the things your country is responsible for,
It's like, why am I singing this national
how are
anthem?
you so like, you know what I mean? Like it's odd to me. And then especially when you're you know a little wealthier and you're a little bit more well traveled, to still be in that bubble, I'm like, oh, now you're choosing to just be willfully ignorant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't want to even hear the other side or learn more.
Yeah.
And with Canada, if you've looked at American media, like any comedy show you look at, we're always just this boring, plain, like we'd be like cornflakes if we were cereal to them. We would be
they barely drew
cornflakes.
us.
They barely drew us, and when they did, it was like these mouths that speak like this
Yeah.
with these weird accents, and their view of Canadians is just a white guy in Regina.
Yeah.
That's their view of Canadian.
They genuinely think we live in igloos, bro.
Yeah. No,
Like
listen.
I
Some
get that
people-
question all the time.
I was in AAU in high school. I was playing AAU ball for years and going to the States and just always, y'all don't speak French? Say word. I thought y'all all spoke French. It doesn't snow up there all year round?
That's
Y'all heard y'all
crazy,
gotta
man.
like run around with them wolves,
Yeah.
bro.
And
I'm dead like, and they're not joking. They're not trying to be
dead ass.
funny or facetious. Like they're dead ass.
Bro, that flight to New Jersey was 54 minutes, bro. We're that close. And they have no idea of
Bro,
what's
there's
going
parts
on
of America that are more north of Toronto
than Toronto.
than Toronto. They experience winter too.
Yeah.
And summer. So why do you think it's so different? Because there's a line that someone drew one day.
It's crazy
It's
to me.
mind-boggling
And when
to
I
me.
was even explaining that to Dr. Umar, I probably spent maybe like 20 minutes explaining it. For the first half of it, he actually completely did not understand what I was saying. He didn't understand that I was saying, bro, Kendrick is talking about us. He's like it took him a second, And then like randomly it just clicked. He's like, wait, he's talking about you guys? And then that's why I'm like, yeah, it's us that he's talking about.
Yeah.
Well, not necessarily saying Kendrick is, but that's where the audience took
That's
it.
what the audience takes.
But that's
Right?
he is as well.
He
Once
is.
he said that
so you think
once he said that
Kendrick-
Canadian line,
Yeah.
that's when I knew he was in on it as well.
Mm.
It's not just a narrative that the fans are running with, and then not like us.
Interesting.
It cemented it for
Literally
me.
the same, not like
It
us.
literally cemented it for me. I'm like, this is a xenophobic bot.
Yeah.
Like this is
Yeah.
this
not-
is literally this can be used in
You think
any
so too?
country for any
I
country.
believe this too. It's not because it's all these issues are not because you're Drake. It's because you're Drake
And
and
Canadian.
you're Canadian.
And the songs are
If Drake was a nigga from Brooklyn, if he was a dark skinned nigga from Brooklyn, he'd be God.
No,
He
would've won
God.
the beef. He would've
let him
won the
still
beef.
stay a light skinned nigga from Brooklyn because J. Cole don't get the same kind of smoke he does.
Nope.
J. Cole doesn't get the biracial hate that he does.
Exactly.
You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? And J. Cole is the same split down the middle, black and white.
But to be fair though, J. Cole, I think goes deeper into his blackness than Drake does.
How?
So what?
But
Who
also,
cares?
But they're
also-
different artists though.
But also, I think we can't underestimate the times we're in, what's going on,
yeah.
and what his ethnic background is.
Got you.
Who, Cole?
No, Drake.
Drake.
Yeah.
With what's going on in the world,
Yes.
That's why they're trying to
that
attack him.
also it doesn't. If he was the opposite side,
Yeah.
there'd be a lot more grace shown.
That's
you know
true.
what I mean? Because then
It's
you're
literally
punching
that
down.
one- yeah.
You can't punch down on
Yeah.
the side that he's on.
Yeah, facts.
There's no world where people think
I love how we're so
you
shook.
can't make
They got it so shook.
yo.
I got it
There's
quick.
no world where people think I can't make fun of them. There's no world.
So true. Yeah.
So it's like it's not punching down when you include that caveat
Yeah.
to Drake's name.
That's
to them,
true.
they're like, oh, he deserves it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When he can't be further removed from that life. You know what I mean?
Crazy.
Like he may have
Crazy.
grown up a little bit in it. And when I mean a little bit, I mean a little bit.
Yeah.
But
And forcefully, probably too. Like his parents are like, do this.
what are you gonna do?
So like he never chose that life.
And your
I mean,
mom's not the
I'll say a
wealthiest
little more
person,
than a little
but
bit.
maybe, you're seeing some of your Jewish family members living a little bit better. You're like,
Yeah.
wow. I mean, being Jewish is like an upside. It's a
Yeah.
positive for me. So why not?
I mean, he lived in Forest Hill though. Let's keep it a bug. Well, he wasn't.
Yo,
living
not
in-
all, but not
But
all
see,
Forest Hill.
I even had to explain that to Americans. Forest Hill is 5 minutes from Eglinton.
Yeah, it's literally right
It's
there.
little Jamaica is
St.
right
Clair's right
there.
down
Right
the road.
there.
Yeah.
That's
You know what I
true,
mean? Like
but
to say that he grew up on this block and he
that's
only
how
knew
rich
this
neighbor-
bubble of people. Who do you
It's
know in
not
Toronto that
possible.
only knows people on their block?
It's not possible.
no, but every hood has a rich hood right next to it, a rich neighborhood.
But
right
that's
next
the
to it.
point.
But that's my point.
And it be the kids that are in
And
the
be
rich
kids from
neighborhood
the
that
rich
are
neighborhoods
worse.
that chilling in the hood more than the niggas in the hood.
And they do the worst. They do worse things than the niggas
Worse
in the
than
hood.
the niggas in the hood.
man.
sometimes
Yes,
to
man.
overcompensate.
I'm telling
yes.
you,
Friday.
yes.
Okay, but here's the thing. And it's going to make us sound like super Drake defenders.
I'm a
right?
Drake defender. I don't give a
But-
fuck. Give me the
I rock with
case.
Drake.
He was
Give me the
living in
case.
Forest Hill, but
I'm
not
telling
as a rich nigga in Forest Hill.
was in a basement.
He was in a basement with his mom Dukes. Like, okay, he was in a Forest Hill basement,
Yeah.
but a basement nonetheless.
Nonetheless, yeah.
Bro.
You know what I'm saying? It's not like man them had a whole mansion in
Man
Forest
didn't have
Hill
sunlight.
and they're running in the west wing of the.
Man did not have sunlight on the
Like,
man.
like you can afford a basement.
And then-
you know what I'm
and
saying?
then
You're
this
not,
was
you're not
Living
balling.
in a regular basement.
But
Yeah.
and,
That's
and
what
then
it
they
was.
see
It was
the
a regular
Degrassi
basement.
stuff.
If you look at the
Right?
CTV Degrassi thing that they did on him
Yeah.
when they walked through his house,
It was a regular
It was a
basement.
it's a
basement.
regular, like it's not even like some lavish
It's like my crib right now.
basement with a pool. and-
Yes, but in Americans' heads, when they think, "Oh yeah, he comes from an affluent," they always put affluent neighborhood of Forest Hill. In their mind, they're thinking when he was like 8 years old, he's running on marble floors down the hallway.
But see,
It's
it
taking
goes-
like 10 minutes to
goes
hold
back to
the
this
kitchen.
Adonis.
It goes
Home
back to the
Alone,
cognitive
for sure.
dissonance I was saying
Yeah.
though, because they also know and have friends who were poor once and made it out the hood and are still poor, but they made it out the hood. Dave Chappelle said it perfectly. I was just rich enough to be the poorest nigga on the block.
Yeah,
His parents were just rich enough to get him out of the hood, but not rich enough to be like affluent.
They're just the poorest guy
They're
on a
just
better
the
block.
poorest guy on a better block. And that is a different type of poverty that people
Yeah.
don't even understand. They think because you live in the house, You got it.
Yeah.
Not knowing your parents are doing everything to sustain that.
Yeah.
And you look crazy compared to all the little rich kids in the neighborhood who really got money. You're the little black sheep out there.
And
like
that's
you
a big
especially
part of the
being
issue
light-skinned out
with
there.
the Drake thing is him constantly not having a place.
Yes.
To really be like, I fit in.
Nigga, you ain't got enough money to come to our functions. We're allowing you to come here. And then on the other side, when it goes to the people who quote unquote have less than them, they're like, oh man, well, you too light skinned or whatever. What you doing out here? You should go take your ass back to Forest Hill. Again, I don't want to sound like a Drake defender, but that sounds like a little bit of a hard existence when you're coming up.
As
you know
a
what I'm saying?
child, too, like.
Yeah, bro. Like nobody wants you around, fam. Like you have to really fight for the people to want you around type of
'cause
thing.
He had
You know
to
what I'm
fight to
saying?
get the hood respect that he has right now too,
Yes.
because of that whole narrative that the whole Forest Hill and he was on Degrassi and all that type of stuff. But even that, like I was doing child acting as a kid. I've been on Degrassi before. I didn't have speaking lines, but I've been there multiple times, multiple episodes, and I know that I went to school with kids that were on the show as regular characters, and I know what the lifestyle is like. They weren't out here like rich and
There's a
I'm
tweet
on
that went
TV and I'm
viral the other
posh.
day.
No, these guys, bro. I went to school with these guys. These guys were smoking the same weed as us. They're doing more drugs than me because I never did drugs like that. But those guys were living a more grungy life, being on TV, getting paid than people that are outside just living regular
A girl
lives.
tweeted just yesterday that she saw, she was at Starbucks and the barista was a guy from Degrassi.
There you
Yes.
And it's like, people don't understand how fleeting, how fickle
go. Yeah.
the industry is, especially when it comes to Toronto. Like, there's no money in this shit.
Yeah, you're not
First of
making-
all, there's no,
you're not making millions a
money
year.
Yo, let's
in
talk about
this
this.
shit.
Yeah.
These companies don't respect the numbers that we have because there's not much people here. There's no real incentive for them to spend a lot of money in Canada, considering our population size. So they're not going to funnel efforts into making Canadian this and Canadian that. Like you get 1 or 2 initiatives a year.
Yeah.
If you're lucky from a lot of these companies. Nike will do a sound clash. Red Bull will do a little DJ thing. Like,
Yeah.
but you're not getting that every 2 months like the States.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's not happening monthly panels and all types of shit.
They're not
like,
even handing out brand deals like, sponsorships.
Let's talk
see
about
those
that.
dinners where niggas get invited to the hills?
Yeah.
And it's like Hennessy has them out there for for whatever, just for a dinner.
Yeah. Look, Hennessy was out here handing out checks for a while. They stopped after a while. No? I haven't seen them really promoting the podcast.
The last
you
person I
alcohol.
saw they worked with was
Brandon.
Brandon
Brandon
Gonez.
Gonez.
And
Yes.
no, recently they did a party. Was it Winnie?
I remember they did a party with
Was it Winnie Harlow? Somebody
did
did
a
with
party with
with
Dante
Brandon
Colley.
as well.
They still do stuff, but most of the time they're just giving alcohol.
no.
They'll provide all the alcohol.
That's what-
They,
the other
they give
thing.
money
No
too.
check.
They give money too. They give checks.
No, but I'm saying there a lot of these companies like 1800, all these companies out here, they're still sponsoring,
We can
but
give
they'll
you
just sponsor the alcohol.
Yeah, we can give you a couple bottles.
Yeah.
We can.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
had that. I've
Yeah.
had that.
You know what I'm saying?
Now let's talk about the actual business with podcasting. How has that been going on either guys' sides?
I mean, it has its ups and downs. It's like anything where it comes to, especially topical, when you have a topical podcast that's like week to week, sometimes it depends on the topics. Like, you know what I mean? Like if something with Drake goes down, especially like a beef or something like that, I know, okay, this week numbers are going up. You know what I mean? And other weeks, it's like maybe not that much happens. You got to make up some content. You got to, find a way to spice it up. But even if you do that, people aren't necessarily running to it because there's nothing that happened that they need to hear about. Sometimes it's like, it's especially when you have so many options these days, like podcasting is no longer in its infancy, in my opinion. Like,
No, definitely
the
not.
boom has happened. Like, there's so many podcasts to listen to. There's so much variety. So how do you stand out? You know what I mean? And all you can do is be consistent and hope that you're providing something unique and seeing if it reflects. With the brands, it's always tricky because they don't even know what they want a lot of times. And a lot of their ideas are shit. A lot of their ideas are trash. But then you have to stay within their guidelines. And I've had brands that just simply don't align with the podcast that would give me more money to do less. But it's like, If it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense. Like what's the benefit? If I'm gonna work with a brand, I want it to pay off for them as well. Because then it's like we're not even gonna work it together again. It's gonna be a one thing, and who knows who you tell.
Yeah. Oh, this didn't work.
Yeah, we worked with them. It didn't really
pan
do much.
out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now you're known as the pod that doesn't really move numbers.
Yeah.
Facts.
So it's like
That's
picking your
great
battles.
insight. That's amazing insight.
Yeah, picking your battles and making sure you're choosing the right people to work with, and that you also have something that they can benefit from. Because if they can't benefit from you, they're not going to come back.
Yeah.
I'm so happy you gave that tip, because a lot of people will just do stuff and sign up for things or work with brands and not really think about how it affects them after.
Well, I'm blessed to be in a position where I have a full-time job. And so I didn't always have that option.
Yeah.
There were times where I just had to be like, yeah,
To take it. Yeah.
I'll take that check.
Yeah.
I'm behind on rent. Like, I'll take that check immediately. 45 net, I'll take it. 60-day net, no problem. I'll take it.
Those 60 days
You
hurt,
put up
man.
with the bullshit with the less you have. So it's like, yeah, I would just say make sure you have, especially in Toronto, man, if you're starting with something, make sure you have steady income somewhere else.
Yes.
Because you are not going to be making buku dollars right away.
Yeah.
And it might take years
Yeah.
to even start seeing yourself in the green.
Yeah.
And it takes money to create a good product.
Facts.
You can't just be like, all right, I got this one camera and like, I'm gonna make it work. Yeah, that's cool for the start, but you're gonna have to level it up.
Yeah.
People like to see a journey, so it'll help you.
Yeah.
But if you keep coming back with that one camera when there's 14 other podcasts with 4 cameras.
It's not even, I wouldn't even suggest that as a start anymore either. Not because I'm a cameraman, if you want to shoot a pod later. But it's like at now, especially with podcasting, like you said, it's past its infancy stage.
Yeah.
Coming out with the one phone thing, like, bro, EYL already did that. And I watched their podcast. These guys were in a plane hangar.
Your
with a
content has to
plane
be
behind
so
them.
compelling.
You understand what I mean?
And like so compelling.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
like there's one pod where I saw dude would disguise their voice and put them in like a silhouette,
yeah.
and they would be talking about like scamming or a crime that
think I
they
remember
committed
that,
and
yeah.
shit like that. And watching that progress, like from where it started, I was like, man, it could only be compelling content that makes people watch this at the start, because I was like, this is so bad production wise. Sound was trash. There was one grainy camera, but you're hearing some shit you never heard before in your life.
Yeah.
A man detailing scamming from the very bottom to the top, like, and you're like, holy shit. And so the next week they got on a serial killer. Oh, I need to hear that. And now you're locked in. And if that content, if you have something that compelling, just what went back to where we were saying, it can't be kind of bad, it can't be kind of good.
Has to be.
It's got to be one or the other.
Yeah.
And especially when it comes to podcasting, you got to be either like a Charlemagne and Andrew Schultz, where it's just such a good synergy.
You're the character.
that people are like, I'm here for them too. Or you got to have someone that, like a Mall, who will get people so angry
Crash
because
out.
he'll stick to his opinion that you have to come back every week to see what he's going to be narrow-minded about this time.
Yeah.
I have to see what he's going to be close-minded about this week.
Yo,
I
shut up,
need to
Ball.
hear it.
These last couple of months, bro, every clip I see Ball, he's
Part
going
of the month.
through it.
Part of the month.
He's going through it. Every clip,
Facts.
he's arguing for his fucking life.
But
And
I like
everyone
it,
is
though.
like
I like
against
it.
him.
I like it.
Yeah.
It made me like them again. I won't
Yeah,
lie.
it's giving them an angle, and
Yeah.
like with a lot of pods, you have to have that guy that people will just say, "Yo, fuck
Yeah.
that guy, man."
Yeah.
But they're gonna keep coming back because they.
Yeah.
It's almost like the media and entertainers in general are consumer stress ball. It's like they can get their shit off with us. They can yell at us, talk to us any type of way, because they can't do that in real life with people that they love and care about
so
that do them
true.
wrong.
Yeah.
That's so true.
They can't just talk to them anyway like that. But to us, there's no consequence. They're not gonna know who I am. So I'm gonna say whatever the fuck I want. I'm gonna listen to this podcast even though I hate it, just so I can yell in my car by
Bro,
myself.
those paragraphs in the Drake Kendrick that my clip, it went viral, bro. When I
People
say
were letting it out.
when it went viral, I was in Orlando. I was literally on a beach. It's like I go open my phone. It's at IX Toronto, you're like, yo, people are dissing me. Even now, this morning, someone dissed me. Bro, people are putting paragraphs like this long on your
That's
phone.
a good thing.
You know what I'm saying? And like, it's exactly what you said. It's because they don't even have that outlet at home. They can't yell at their girl like this.
Yeah.
They can't yell at their friends like
Exactly.
this. But this fucking Canadian guy just said this bullshit about Kendrick. Let me get at him real quick. I
And
don't know
that's
this
what
guy.
it
Let me
means
get
to
at
be a
him.
media person. You have to have the courage to be disliked.
Facts.
If you don't have the courage to be disliked, you cannot be in this game, man. If you take everything to heart, just pack it up.
Yeah, you can't
This is not for you, man.
you can't have thin skin when it comes to this.
Cannot.
Even when it comes to with the podcast game, I'm a quality and quantity person, right? Like over the years, I've clipped up every podcast that we do, right? So if we do a 2-hour podcast, I'm thinking in segments, right? Even when I'm doing interviews, like I'm sometimes thinking in segments, right? I'll have questions that I obviously have pre-made or sometimes that come off the top of the head. But I know when I ask a certain question, that's a segment.
Yeah.
This is another segment. You know, by the time we do a 2-hour podcast, we probably have about 8 clips. So throughout the week, I'm constantly giving people content, right? We drop an episode on Monday. From there, I get like 8 clips that can last me all the way into the next week almost. Plus, I'm going to do a live stream that's going to be another 2-3 hours. Maybe bring up like 5-6 news stories in there, more clips.
Yeah.
More clips. And there's things that sometimes, like our full episodes do great, but then we have a clip that we were talking about Drake and the Hells Angels, and that went over 100,000 views. That was part of a 2-hour episode. The 2-hour episode did cool.
Yeah.
But that clip went
10 times
That's
better.
the Vlad method. That's like Vlad.
Yeah.
That guy doesn't
Yeah.
drop a full episode for like months. He
I
just
got to
clip
do
you-
better at
clip you
that
to
with
death.
the podcast where it's like we're talking about something for 10, 20 minutes.
Clip that.
Clip that.
that.
You know what I mean? Because you never know which one will just take off with the
Yeah,
algorithm.
and the titles on top of that, the titles on the clips.
Thumbnails.
Yeah, that's what might drive it.
We're
You
giving
know
y'all
what
the
I'm saying?
sauce, people.
Yo.
Yeah, no,
like-
because thumbnails, I think people really underestimate thumbnails
power
and
of
titles.
thumbnails.
Oh, for
the
sure.
power of that. Like, you got to really go into a consumer's mind and think, okay, when I'm on YouTube, what makes me click things?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what really catches my attention and how are things phrased where I get intrigued and curious enough to be like, okay, I've never seen your content. I'm going to click it.
Yeah.
Because there's tons of times YouTube still amplifies small creators. Like I'll go on my homepage and it'll be like 4 videos from channels I usually go on. Then there'll be some that are kind of related. And then there'll be 1 or 2
Yeah, with like 100
small
views.
podcasts with like 100 views
Yeah.
that just went up 24 minutes ago
Yeah.
that they've just put on my homepage.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with anything, but they just want to see,
It's there.
hey, you down? And that's your opportunity every single time
Facts.
to grab a new person.
Yeah.
And it was much better back in the day. I'm not gonna lie, like old YouTube days when you used to have
guy
reaction
on YouTube?
videos underneath the YouTube video.
Right there.
Right there.
Yeah.
So it would line them all up in a carousel, and all you had to do was tag the first video,
Wow.
and you'd be in that carousel, and you could just scroll through it and pick whichever video you wanted to see. You used to have, so say I'm subscribed to Friday. If Friday commented on a video, as soon as I go on my homepage on YouTube, because I'm subscribed to him, they're like, oh, if Friday likes it and he subscribed to him, then he'll probably like it.
Yeah.
They'll show you the comment, they'll show you the video, and now you can go and be like, oh shit, my favorite just clicked this. What is he like?
Yeah. Now it's all algorithm
Now
based.
it's all algorithm based.
But that's why I encourage like clips.
Yeah.
Yo, one
Like-
thing go ahead.
Like I've been able to go viral multiple times from rants because I clipped it. You know what I mean? One of the last things that have gotten a pretty good set of traction is why I'm better than 90% of Toronto rappers. Title.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah, yo, one thing I learned too is having an action word. You know, I've been studying the game and studying thumbnails. One thing they do is have an action word per title to make sure that the one word will trigger you. Instead of saying hot debate, it's heated debate. Instead of saying reaction, it's angry reaction. It's like having
Yes.
Like a
an action
describer.
word
Yeah.
per title. Like now I'm specifically intentionally including one
Yeah.
to see how that will increase it. So on the Dr. Umar one, I had one or two. I hired a thumbnail designer. Like things like that has been.
And I think people sometimes try to be
difference.
purist with it. Where It's like I'm just gonna title it what it is.
Yeah.
And people will come because the content's good. No, they're not even gonna click it to know the content's good.
You have to have quote unquote clickbait titles without them completely being clickbait.
So what do you guys think about this new thing? So I find it very annoying. There's a new thing with the bigger podcasters, the bigger media personalities now looking at certain types of engagement as engagement farming. I hate it. The reason why I hate it is because all of the people that are speaking down on it all started off doing the same exact things. Engagement farming. That's what it is. Now it just has a term.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about this kind of negative look on it? And do you guys think it's necessary? For me, I think it's completely necessary to engagement farm. You want people to click what you got to click, get them to click it. And hopefully you can provide what they're looking for, but do what you got to do to get them to click. What do you guys think?
It goes back to accountability again, and people trying to dodge accountability. It's like people saying Ice Spice took Ozempic because they don't believe she went to the gym.
Yeah.
It's because they don't want to believe that she actually put in the work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's a weird thing that people do where it's like industry plant. Like, oh, I didn't see your come up.
So you're industry plan.
So you're an industry plant
Yeah.
because you're successful right away.
Yeah.
Don't project because you're not successful right away is okay.
Yeah.
And you have your journey. Some people blow up quicker than others, and that's okay. But to discredit that person because they did well
Yeah.
is weird to me. And that's where the engagement farming comes.
Yeah.
Because regardless of however you got them to click, they still need to stay a little bit
Of course.
for it to count as a view, for
Yes.
it to actually have some impact, and for you to actually make money. Because YouTube is not just views; it's views plus retention.
Yeah.
So if I go watch 1 minute of your video and you didn't grip me, pause, and I didn't stick around for the video, you're not gonna get paid.
Yeah.
Very true.
If it's a 30-minute video, I watch 1 minute, you're not getting paid nothing. But if I watch 30 minutes and then decided, yo, I gotta see some more,
Clicked on another one, yeah.
bro, like
You did your job.
did your job.
And you deserve what comes
You
after
got them there, and then you kept them there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I look at engagement farming as it depends on what the point of your farming is.
Yeah.
Like if you're trying to get engagement for something that you're actually passionate about, you're giving what you feel your real opinion is, cool. You know what I'm saying? It's your job to get as much engagement and as much people to click on it as possible. But if you have something that's just nefarious or just completely untrue on the other side, and you're just trying to get a whole bunch of clicks just so people can look at you, but then you don't really believe what you're saying.
You're gonna lose them.
That's
anyways.
wrong. That's wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Like the audience will be able to see through that, and now you're gonna have to figure out what to do next to get that engagement. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I go back to the ranting. I don't rant because I'm looking for engagement. I rant because I'm passionate about shit.
Yeah.
Right? But if you clip that, it's going to get some engagement.
Yeah.
But I'm not ranting because, I'm going to turn up the algorithm today. I'm going to start yelling about this shit.
And you're not pretending to rant either. You're not pretending. You're not saying I ranted and then I click it and you didn't rant.
No, I'm off camera ranting about the same shit to my
actually
girl.
doing
I'm
Like that's the
you know what
thing
I'm
is
saying?
with engagement farming has a negative connotation when really it should be clickbaiting that has the negative
Never,
connotation.
Yeah.
Clickbaiting is the problem. Farming has never been a bad thing.
We need
We need farming.
Yeah, honestly.
Tricking people is a completely different thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's the difference. Is engagement farming is really you did the work, you did you did your studying, and you realize what works.
Yeah.
That means you put in work to even figure out what people want. You sat down and took the time to do it, which means you care about it.
Yeah.
And so if you've garnered success off that, who the fuck is anybody to say anything to you?
And who wants content that nobody watched?
That's true.
Like, why are you making the content then? Why
That's
set
true.
up the cameras, microphones, and all that
To be
like,
virtuous?
you know,
To have
I
some
don't
sort
care
of,
if
like,
nobody
valor?
watches that shit as
Like-
long as I said it.
As long as
Then
I did it.
the message is not going to resonate as much
Yeah.
if you don't get enough people hearing it neither. So
Nobody
if it's
cares.
really, really important, like if it's an integrity thing, then you're going to want millions of people watching it from the integrity standpoint.
Yeah, if you want, it's
It works either way, you know, whether you're trying to be righteous or you're just trying to get a lot of clicks. If you're trying to be super righteous and you're like, well, I don't care if only 20 people listen to it, then you're not being really that righteous, are you?
No.
I want millions of people to hear my righteous record, or my righteous message. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like it's in my best interest to get as much people, especially people who are outside of the way I think, to hear this message and maybe be able to change their mind too.
Yeah.
So to stay on this topic for a second, so Marlon, like you were, I don't know, for me, I'm born in 1995. You had my generation, still have, but you had my generation on a fucking chokehold them times. You know what I'm saying? You know what times I'm talking about. And so you got to see the kind of the early days of like virality, social media virality, all that type of stuff. I have mad questions for you on this, but I won't kill you with that because I'm sure you got many of them. But what did it feel like in that time? And what is it now in comparison to that time?
At that time, honestly, it was like just really fun. It was just really fun. Like, yeah, I lived in Maple and Vaughan up until I was like 17, 18. And then I moved downtown. And I kind of skipped all over the place. I was jumping from couch to couch. I was homeless for a bit.
Oh, shit.
And yeah, there was literally one night where I slept at Bloor Young Station, like that little food court. And like,
shit.
And I was just like, man, I'm shaking it. Like I gotta figure
That's
out
a
like, what's my
sticky
next
place
move.
to sleep.
Yeah, man. And
Like the red tile joint?
yeah,
Like you close your eyes and knocked out there.
Yo, yeah, I had to. I was
mud.
tired and it was cold outside, bro.
Mud.
And yeah, man, like I wanted to be known. I just knew I wanted to be known. And I didn't know what for. Like at the time when I left college, I went to like just a bunch of friends' houses and I started club promoting at Government. They had a hip hop night in this place called Orange Room. And yeah, old school. And so I started making a lot of connections through that. And I would bring girls out. And so other promoters or people for other parties would be like, yo, come promote on my party, whatever. And so I kind of made my name known through the club scene first. Yeah. And so when I dropped Shit Toronto People Say, I already kind of made a name for myself in the city through clubs and partying and also through Facebook.
But your reach was actually organic first.
Yeah. Well,
that's fire.
Kind of, because also T.Wire and Facebook were a big thing.
T.Wire.
Yeah, T.Wire was the shit. And
how old are you? 16 candles?
And I figured there was like on T.Wire there was these forums that people would speak in. And there's this one called Let's Bang that that's the one everyone would just stick to. It was a sex forum, but nobody would talk about sex. You talk about whatever. Like, and so I'd start making my name in there, busting jokes and shit like that. And then T.Wire had like this rating system that they came out with where like you could rate somebody out of 10. And then if you had whoever had the highest ratings on the site, they had a specific page for T.Wire fly fellas, T.Wire fly chicks. And it would be the guys on one page and the girls on the other page. And I had a high rating, so my shit was on that page. And I just kept getting more and more friend requests. I'm like, okay, this is sick. Facebook becomes a thing. Everybody's doing Facebook groups now. For some reason, Facebook groups are like the shit. So I made a Fresh Prince one. I said this group called Fresh Prince is the greatest show of all time. That had over like 1 million people in it.
Sick.
And then there was a bunch of like little fringe Toronto groups that like I'd be in and like busting jokes and like more and more friend requests, and I just make more groups. I made one about Batija, I made one about light skinned girls. Like I just kept making.
I remember I was in the light skinned girl one.
Yeah, I just kept making these groups and like meeting more and more people, and more and more people would just know who I am. So by the time I dropped the YouTube video, I had already done those two things. I'd done Much Music VJ Search. I got off Much Music VJ Search the last week. We got to host it live on TV, and I got 11,000 followers on Twitter. And Twitter just came out, and that gave me the reason to use Twitter. I never used, I had it, but I just didn't understand it. So I'm like, I'm on Facebook. Like, I'm not even trying to touch this. And then after I got those 11,000 followers, I'm like, okay, I got like a base now that I have to serve. And how am I going to do it? And so I was in college at the time, and this is my second time going to college. First time I left the first semester. This time, same shit. And I was like, yo, this is just not for me. But I was in a media program, and I got the camera, and I noticed if I took it out on Thursdays, I wouldn't have to bring it back till Monday.
Smart man.
So I take it out every Thursday and just go to my nigga's basement, and we just film shit just for fun.
Yeah.
And it was just to show people I was thinking people in the city would see it. I didn't think anybody else would see it. And yeah, the videos just ended up blowing up. Like one of the first videos I made was how to charge your BlackBerry faster, because people didn't know about airplane mode.
I remember that. Yeah.
And so that was the first phone that had airplane mode. And so I was like, yo, if you put your phone on airplane mode, it'll charge 10 times
So
quicker.
you're helping the people
that
and
went
going
super,
viral.
Yes, that went super viral.
That was on WorldStar, right?
Yeah, and then that World Star started just paying attention to my videos. So then when Shit Toronto People Say dropped, they posted that. I made a masturbation video where I was talking about porn and shit. And they posted that one. So like I was just gaining more and more. Like, bro, I was getting like 10,000, 20,000 subscribers a month at one point. It was
Holy
like,
shit.
I didn't even compute it.
Yeah.
Because it's not like there was an example before me to
That's
be
what I'm
like,
saying.
okay, this is what happens next. And then you do this. It's just like I'm learning in real time. So all those times, I had no monetization on YouTube. Didn't even know you could do that.
Oh my gosh, bro.
Oh,
Didn't even know you could do that. I'm just making shit for the fun of it.
bro.
Just because I wanted to be known. I just had a passion to be known.
Just the views from my friends alone, you
Bro,
would have been making bread.
I remember when I first got the monetization, I was going to Miami with my boys, and something happened like the day before, and I ended up having to use all my money. So I'm going to Miami, ticket, bought everything, but I have no money to spend, and I'm on South Beach for a week. I'm like, this is gonna be. I'm at the beach all day, every day. So then now, I got the pin the morning before going to the plane or whatever. Put the pin in, $1,100. Just sitting in there. I'm like, the fuck? I said that shit right away. I'm like, what? Bro, I was so confused. And then like when I learned more and more about it, I remember going to see the Shit Toronto People Say, Shit Jamaican People Say. There's like, I did 2 parts for both of them. So I went to go look at the numbers. And we did this in like, this is like a 3-week span where we did Shit Toronto People Say, Shit Toronto People Say Part 2, Shit Toronto Jamaican People Say Part 2, and then Jamaican Valentine's Day was another big one that I did in that same month.
That was crazy. That one was crazy.
It was all in like the same month or 2, I think. And for all those videos, I used copyright music.
Oh shit, man!
No
Cardinal.
way.
I used a reggae song. I used reggae songs on almost all of them. So I made $0 from all of those. The biggest videos I've ever made, I made no money.
You're lying.
I never made a cent from Shit Jamaican People Say, Toronto People Say.
That's
None of it.
crazy.
That's
None of it. The most money I've made from that time was Bada Bada.
okay. Yeah,
That
Bada
video
Bada
went
was-
crazy,
Bada Bada
and then
was
also
mad.
like the song just went crazy.
Yeah,
we were
the
like
song's
number
mad.
9 on the reggae charts at one point.
Wow.
And I was like, what's happening? Like we put it out, and a week later, Popcorn was was doing a show at Cool House, and we opened
for him.
And I'm like, what is going on? Like that shit was tripping me out. But yeah, no, around that time was just fun, man. Just figuring everything out. I didn't look at it as a business because I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't have any examples. And that, not to say there weren't YouTubers before me. There was like Those Girls Are Wild with Shannon and Andrea. And there was Latoya Forever. Those are the 2 YouTubers that I knew before then.
Latoya Forever. I
So
forgot that.
yeah, man, I was just figuring it out in real time.
Damn.
Like
yeah, for me, so what years were those? Like were the prime years?
2011, 12.
Yeah, so for me, I'm in grade 11, grade 12. Like me and my friends were all looking at it like, bro, this guy. And so your last name is Palmer. My brother's last name is Palmer. So I used to lie and be like, yo, that's my brother too, huh? That's my brother too. No, I know this guy. But for real, being at that age, I really felt like I knew you guys. Because one thing that was crazy about, so I'm from more on the eastern side, like more east side of Toronto. But you guys very much were like West Side of Toronto. So it was just such a connection to like people out closer to Scarborough and in Scarborough and stuff like that. Now hearing these guys from the West, and now we're starting to talk. Shit. Bro, we're like, yo, what's wanted over there? Like,
I really learned about Toronto after I made a lot of that content because like I just thought it was my bubble of friends that spoke like this, that like move like this.
Not at
like,
all.
We're all the
and
same.
just realizing, yo, we're all the same. But also realizing that white people had no idea that this existed. The amount of people that were in the comment section just became a war zone of white people saying, this is not Toronto at all. What the fuck is going on? Why are they talking like that? And black people going like, yo, this is so accurate. And I'm sitting there reading these comments and going, there's really like Leafs Toronto, Raptors Toronto.
Raptors Toronto.
It's like, especially at that
Good
time,
analogy.
like the Raptors were like, for underprivileged communities, it was like the easiest sport you can go to because we were so shit. The tickets were dog water cheap. Like, so it's, and you had those like hood field trips that they take you to Sprite Zone and shit. So it's like, I'm like, there's two Torontos. Like these white people really have no idea what's going on. And now you can't even say that. Now it's
everyone knows everything now.
Now everybody knows everything.
Yeah.
And everyone almost everybody kind of says everything.
There's there's still a bit of a distance, like the Kyle Forgard, Toronto,
like the Nelk Boys type.
the Nelk
vibe.
Boys,
Yeah.
Toronto,
Kind
is still
of,
a little
it's
bit
still
different.
But
more
you see, like when
together.
you make me sick to my stomach's fat. Like they know it exists.
They don't exist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
when that happens, they're like, yo,
They know,
this
they
is
know.
so funny. It's
Yeah.
not like, yo, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Whereas back in the day, they'd be like,
What
who
is
talks
this?
like this?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah, they know it's there.
Yeah.
They don't partake in it as much, but they know it's
Yeah.
there and it's present.
Yeah, Drake definitely helped too.
And I have a question for of course, Drake hopping in that, for sure. I have a question for you as well. I don't know if a lot of people know your background, where you started off in hip hop, and what made you even come to where you are today. Can you just give a quick explanation as to where you started and kind of what gave you the passion to do what you're doing today?
Well, I used to be a rapper. I came from Montreal originally. Got here in 1997. Was on some trying to be Jay-Z, Master P, music mogul type shit. Right. I went to a music school, Harris Institute of the Arts. Learned about music marketing and management. And then from there, I started getting into the industry via like street teamwork and stuff like that. And, got to work with different record companies and, got into management as well, managed groups in the city. I started managing a group named Empire that became pretty popular back in the days. And just, I stuck with the rapping for a while, but just to give the quick explanation, once I got to like 2017, I just came home from jail maybe about 5 years before that. I'm starting to get older. The rap shit never really panned out like that.
Yeah.
But I started really getting into podcasting, listening to a lot of podcasts like Brilliant Idiots.
And you said 2017. That's like the golden era for podcasting.
I would say now is the golden era.
No, okay,
Now?
sorry. So I would
Yeah.
say that would be the beginning.
Absolutely
No,
not.
he's right. I would say that would be kind of more of the beginning.
Like if you're a
of
core, if you're a
podcasting.
core like podcast fan, that's the best of times.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like there's no way I could even say that any podcast now compared to what I was listening to then.
It's like how
Combat
hip
Jack
hop
and
fans
them.
look at
that's
90s.
Original
Yeah.
Joe Budden podcast,
Yeah.
like for, the Read, all that. Like that was the best time to be a podcast
That was the
listener.
boom
But
of-
this is the best time to have a
Now,
podcast.
yes, facts. Okay,
But that was
gotcha.
the boom of the
Disagree. I
hip hop
disagree.
podcast, I would
100%.
say. Right? Or like the hip hop
That
culture
2017
podcast.
time?
2016, 2017. Like when,
Hip
Drink
hop,
Champs,
yeah. Joe
Joe
Budden.
Budden, everybody started to get more popular.
Yeah.
But before that, like Joe Rogan has been around. The
Bill
Reed was
Burr
around.
is probably the oldest one that I know of.
Yeah,
Bill Burr was before Joe Rogan.
Yeah,
He was
and-
doing this Monday morning podcast, just talking to himself.
Yeah, and there was Juan Epstein podcast that
Juan
I was listening
Epstein,
to back in like
holy,
2012.
Yeah,
so-
Juan Epstein was
Yeah, Juan
popular.
Ep.
Tax Stone was a big
Tax
one.
was my favorite.
Tax was huge.
He was my favorite.
Yeah,
that was my
Tax was
favorite
great.
pod.
I was listening to pods like way back from like when Ice-T had a pod.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Jamie
Ice-T's-
Foxx, Foxhole Radio.
Foxhole.
Foxhole Radio was the shit.
Patrice
Opie and
O'Neal.
Anthony on Patrice O'Neal. Big, was it Dr. P or
Oh my god!
And even the
what was
Steve
podcast
Harvey,
show?
Steve
I can't remember
Harvey's
his name.
radio
I think it was
show,
Mr. P.
they were putting out clips on YouTube a long time too.
Yeah.
Like
Ricky
Smiley.
Steve Harvey's
Smiley.
radio.
Yeah.
Ricky Smiley as well.
Word.
Yeah.
But
So,
yo,
I
right
told
now,
this story not to just
Yeah,
to,
no,
to
go back
sum
to
up
what
the
you
whole
were
thing,
saying.
right? Like around 2017, also being very active on social media, Twitter, Facebook, posting just my opinions and shit.
Yeah.
Somebody just said to me, "Hey, you should start a podcast."
That's how
in
it
my
started for me,
comments,
too.
right? And I said, "You know what? Okay." And a week later, I, borrowed a camera from one of my homies. We didn't even have a microphone. We literally were using
The camera audio?
No, the phone. I just
your
put
phone
the
audio, yeah,
the
yeah.
audio recorder on the phone and
Yeah,
put it in the
yeah,
middle of the table, and
Yup.
you would just catch everything in the room, right? But over time, you learn how to
Refine
make things look how your favorite podcast looks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Since then, I've just never
It's
stopped.
helped a
Dope.
lot.
Thank you for explaining that. Because I don't know if everybody knows kind of where you came from in the
Yeah.
hip hop game.
I've listened, man. I've done so many interviews where I've retold my story. I've
Yeah.
tried to give you the elevator version. Of it,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Appreciate it.
Yeah, you got to come back and do a full episode, bro.
Yeah, whenever, man.
Most definitely. But yeah, so I want to wrap up the conversation around the podcast, heights. You feel like now's the height, Marlon?
I think
in
what he
terms
said
of
is right, to
commerce.
have one.
Yeah, in terms of commerce, if you want to make it a business, now is the best time to have a thriving podcast. But in terms of content enjoyability, looser framework, 2017
And more free
to 19,
conversations.
it goes back to what we were saying earlier about businesses ruining things. Like advertisers, now you see Joe has to bleep shit, whereas Joe used to just fire
Bro.
off. Whoever catches it, catches it.
Anybody.
And he didn't give a fuck. And it's like now he has to give a fuck. So it dilutes the product a little bit. He still finds his ways to get his shits off, but it's definitely not what it used to be in terms
Definitely
of
not.
content.
Definitely not.
Definitely not. And now people, especially I find, are trying to make it more structured. Like even myself, like when I first started doing podcasts, I'd have a couple of things I wanted to talk about, but there was no framework. I just press record and be like, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
Niggas were not introducing themselves. Right now, you listen to my podcast. Hey, welcome back to the Extra Gravy Show. I'm Marlon. And it's that's it's not rehearsed, but it's just framework now.
Yeah.
Whereas before I used to turn it on and be like, yo, I got this pussy the other day that just really fucked my week up. You know what I mean? But now if you want advertisers and shit, you can't do that.
You can't start off the podcast
You can't start
with
off
the
the
cursing.
podcast like that.
Yeah.
Which I still do, regardless.
No, you're right. Also, when it comes to podcasting now, it's definitely some of the best times if you've been serious about podcasting for a while, right? If you're coming in as a new podcast, you either got to catch a lick or got to really show that you're serious about
Or had
this
something
shit.
going on before it.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Where it's okay, I was doing this, but now I'm a podcaster. You know what I'm saying? Because it's there's a lot of podcasts out there.
Starting from zero,
Yeah. There's a lot of pods out
gotta
there.
have a very compelling.
There's a lot. I'm a cameraman.
Yeah.
There are a lot of pods out there with 40 views.
Yeah.
Well,
lot.
a lot of pods that just don't even they start off. They don't go past episode 5.
Not even.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've seen it so many times, even in just city. The amount of podcasts I've seen fall off, and it's no different from any other medium. YouTube, same thing.
Yep.
See people do it. People just they need to see some instant results, or they can't stick through it.
Yeah.
And those are the people that will always lose out on a blessing, because if you just kept going, there's nothing you keep doing that you get worse at.
Yeah. No, that's real facts there too. Because and to add on to what you're saying with our city, too many people quit before they even get to 100, bro. And that's the reason, you guys have us here in the first place.
How many episodes have you done?
I'm taking a break this week. By the time maybe this is out, we're going to be on episode 500.
Yeah, I just did 400 myself.
You know what I'm saying? This is what I'm talking about, fam. But it's because we consistently kept on putting out episodes week after week, year after year. no matter what. You remember what I was saying before, whether it was different hosts, different things like that, we kept on plugging out
The
content.
amount of studios that my audience has seen is unfathomable. Like I've lost count, bro. The amount of places I've had to record because this fell off. These people got in an argument. Oh, that thing broke. Like you just adjust if you really love to do it, man.
Yeah, and that shows the test of time, because in the end of the day now, it's like, I would love, like I say it again and I say it again, I would love there to be 10 podcasts that are on their episode 300-400.
Yeah.
But people quit after they get to like 50. You know what I'm saying? They're like, oh shit, I'm not getting enough views. I'm off of this.
Nobody cares.
Yeah.
You know what? I feel like, I was talking to you earlier about this. I feel like that's what companies are preying on now. Because if you look at what Spotify is doing, they're letting go of their biggest acts. And they're going to like the lower level. They're going to people who are just starting.
Quantity.
And getting quantity.
Yeah.
Because they know that they can put advertisers on it.
Yeah.
And everyone will quit within a few weeks. They won't even care about getting them monetized.
But they'll get their shit off.
But
They'll
shit
get the
off.
advertisement
And they get the
dollars.
ads off, you know? So I feel like that's like the next play that's going to happen. And I think that's the challenge now between the golden era and now, is that the business is pulling back. Like bare companies have folded. You know, there was More Sauce. There was the one that Ebony K. Williams was into that's now folded. There's a lot of companies that are folding now. So,
But then you also have Call Her Daddy Girl doing 125 million.
but
That's 9 figures.
9 figures. But let's keep it a buck though. Like how many color daddies are out there? And then this year, that spot,
That's it.
that spot is very, 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 very rare. Like that's like 0.0001.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Very much so. But that does mean that podcasts, even just half of that, can make 60 million.
Yeah. Or a quarter of that.
It gives
Give
us,
me
it
10
gives
mil,
us,
I'll take the deal.
Don't get me
it
wrong.
gives us a
Don't get me-
number where we can start at and be like, okay, this is, if that got evaluated at this much and it does this many numbers with this much audience, now we can the rest of us can go, okay, so that means I'm worth this much. Before it was like, there's no way to quantify how much you were worth because you didn't know what the market was for your podcast.
Yeah.
And if they're giving her 125 million, that means they're making 300 million. Realistically, they're not signing her to make less
they're
money.
making at
But
least double.
so here's the thing. It's
At
not
least.
just her. It's a network. It's a group of podcasts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a little bit different. And I think they're not buying her podcast. They're buying acquisition, because she's at a pivotal moment where all the girls that of basic SiriusXM, they want white women.
Yeah.
They want white moms.
Yeah.
So they're like, all right, how are we going to get the white moms of tomorrow? Who has that audience?
Get them from now before they become
before they come
white
late.
moms.
Exactly. So the reason why Spotify got Joe Budden was because they wanted the audience. But even if after Joe Budden leaves, we have the audience in our system, we're good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And not everyone's leaving.
Not everyone's leaving.
Some people get so used to a
This-
certain UI that they're like,
They're cool with
chill
it.
here.
I'm cool. I'm here.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because they're gonna go into Howard Stern after. They're gonna go to whatever after.
Yeah.
So it makes more sense for them to spend that money on her because they acquire that audience and then they can monetize it for the future.
And people pick sides now. Like you're either iPhone or Android, Apple Music or Spotify. You know what I mean?
I'm
Like
serious or
yeah.
regular radio.
And so they know if they get especially the people who didn't have any of the streaming services before, and they get you off this show, and then that show leaves, you're still gonna stick with it because it's the only streaming service you know.
It's already
Exactly.
hooked up to your credit card most times.
Yeah, like, who's
It's hard to
changing all
even get. It's hard to get that shit off your credit card. It's harder to get it off than get it on your credit card. You know what I'm saying?
Word.
You got to go through 10 steps to get that
They
shit
do
off
that
your
on
credit card.
purpose. Deterrence.
Yeah.
Exactly. So like to think that like so that deal isn't as normal, and I feel like it's kind of tricky to show that as like, oh yeah, you can just do that, you know, because it's more of a play than just your podcast. It's more than that, you know. But what I'm noticing now, I've been studying Colin and Samir. You guys familiar with Colin and Samir?
No.
Colin and Samir, they make content specifically for creators, YouTubers, podcasters, things of that nature.
Oh, Colin and Samir. Yeah.
Colin and
They're
Samir.
great. They're a great channel.
They're dope. And like what they were breaking down like the playbook for creators, and it's like they have like 4 to 5 revenue streams usually. So it's not even just like ads or like
merch.
acquisition. It's a whole holistic
Ebook.
play.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
So like I feel like that's kind of the lane that we have to go into more so versus I'm gonna go for the Sirius XM. I'm gonna do a Spotify one
Yeah,
day.
no.
Like if you're to say that that's the goal, like
You have to think of things in increments more so than like this big leap. Like nothing's gonna happen like that.
exactly.
And even with podcasting, I've already looked at it like that. Like, you know, I make sure that, I've always made sure that we have a poppin' Instagram page, and my own personal page is poppin' because that's real estate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And as a hip hop podcast that's constantly pushing new artists, people are like, yo, you know, I need to get a repost. Okay, here's our price sheet. You know what I'm saying? As you know, from podcasting and from just being a public figure, hostings.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I get to charge for hostings. There's different ancillary things that I get money from around being a podcaster.
Yeah.
As well as like the YouTube money that makes it worth it. Like I did an interview last summer for Hawaii Mighty, and they gave me a check to go over there and interview her, you know, at this beautiful mansion in the country and stuff like that.
That was a fire interview.
Thank
That
you.
location
And that's what
was
you need
fire.
for consistency as well. Because
Yeah.
if you're the only person that's constantly in someone's face, even if somebody else is better at it,
Yeah.
if I remember you because you're always in my face,
I'm gonna call you.
I'm gonna call you.
Mm-hmm.
It's like consistency plays a huge part. And I think a lot of times, even if you feel like no one's paying attention, like there's always somebody that's paying attention.
Yeah.
And if you're doing things the right way, especially, people will look out for you when those opportunities come, and they like, you know what? This pod doesn't get a lot of views, but I like what they're doing.
Yeah.
I see that they're really trying. I see the improvements, and they're consistent.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give them a shot.
Yeah.
People do that. Like I've seen it happen. So I think a lot of people are jaded with Toronto's industry because of past experiences and friends' experiences and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But trust me, just stay the course, man. Stay the course.
I'm curious, what advice do y'all have for us? You know what I'm saying? Like as creators on the rise.
Talk more.
Talk more.
Yes. That's why they thought Mouse was the host.
Yeah.
Because Mouse doing all the talking points and the camera was on him.
Word.
So I think you got to talk more.
We
And
were
even
trying.
interject if you
Honestly,
need to.
Alex, watching back, Alex was trying, bro, but they were so heated.
You
You,
know
you could
the
hear
words,
it in
yeah.
the background. He's like, actually, no.
Oh,
Oh, no.
Keep going. Keep going.
Word.
Keep going. Man. It's
Yeah.
your show at the end of the day. If
That's
they
facts.
see you're keeping going, they're going to stop.
That's
It's your
facts.
show.
That's
Yeah.
right.
You got to be the master of ceremonies for real. Like really control the room.
Yeah. And, you know, to add on to that, even with, you know, you guys had Mouse and Dr. Umar in the place, so it might have been harder to get your POV off.
Yeah.
But also do pods where you guys are just chopping it up on your own.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
we've
saying?
gone viral like that a couple times.
Yeah.
Because one thing that happens with, and we did that on our come up too, like we used to be very guest based,
Yeah.
right? And, you know, a couple of times the guests kind of flopped us, and we were like, okay, let's just pod anyway. And then after a while, I would intentionally not invite a
put
guest
guests, yeah.
and just chop it up with my co-host, so that after a while we became the people that people are looking at, and then having a guest is a bonus.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that after, like, you know, we can do weeks without having a guest. People are there to watch us and hear what our point of view is on
I
some
try
shit.
to integrate the guests into what we usually do so that we don't have to stop doing what we usually do. Or
Bring them into your world.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I'll midway through interviewing them, I'll be like, oh, that reminds me of what Diddy just said. And we start talking about that.
Yeah.
And then I'll go back. So you had this album like half an hour later.
Yeah.
You know what I
It's
mean?
easier for you to do it though,
Yeah.
with the type of guest that you have on. I used to try to do that. I used to have
can.
a segment called Smoke and Mirrors, and you've been on my show before,
Yeah.
where we just bring up topics.
Yeah.
When I do that with you, great. If I
Other
do
people
it
are
with
not well
super
versed.
driller gangster
Yeah.
rapper, they're like, no,
What
I
are
don't
you
want to talk
talking
about
about,
that.
Adam?
Especially if it has something to do with another rapper in the city, I stop doing it because I can't even
Well,
bring it
they're
up.
also used to seeing the rappers that they look up to not have to do any of that. So
Yeah.
they're like, I'm here for that one thing. Me.
Yeah, we ain't gonna talk about me.
Why you started
I don't
talking
care
about
about what
some
happened to
next
Diddy.
nigga, like, yeah.
You know what I'm
Exactly,
saying?
exactly.
So like we had to cut that out. So now when I do my interviews are what about you? And then I just chop it up with the crew. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Word. Awesome, yo. As work is wrapping up, what are some of the things y'all working on? And yeah, what's some things you're working on?
Well, right now I'm working on just stand-up comedy, trying to put together like a good 40 minutes of material so I could film a special
Yes.
in the next couple months.
Dope.
So just trying to get more shows done, especially like around Canada. like club owners, they don't really know me like that yet outside of Toronto. So going to the places that I don't usually go, like Calgary, Vancouver, stuff like that, that's more my goal now, is to get out to those places. And yeah, man, Flow is going great. Flow 98.
Congratulations on that.
That's
by
a
the way,
big
bro.
look.
Thank you, man. Yeah.
Super. When I seen that, I was like, they finally did something right. Finally.
Yeah, man, it's been fun. It's really dope being on that show and having a voice for the city. But other than that, extra gravy every week, every Wednesday. And yeah, I got some stuff planned for the city as well that I'm gonna be like switching shit up. I always do something new.
You need to do a next versus party.
Yeah,
bro,
yeah. I
that
gotta do
shit
another one.
was lit.
You went to the Movado Vibes
Yeah,
one?
bro.
Yeah.
I swear to God, that party, it wasn't about gyal.
Nope.
It wasn't about alcohol. Everybody in there was turning up
Yeah.
to specifically what you guys put on. Like
Yeah.
we were actually there for that show.
So
yeah, there was
is-
boots and
Yeah.
bottles
Yeah.
and whatever, but that was so minor to
Yeah.
what we were actually there for. Honestly, in the last 2 years of my life, that has been top 3 parties I've gone to in the city.
Thank you, bro.
That
Appreciate
was
it, man.
so fire.
Yeah, I
bro.
just don't want to
So
throw
fire.
events that people are already throwing. Like we have
Gotcha.
enough parties that are just normal. So it's like when I do something, I want it to be unique and just something different for the city. Like we need variety in not only things we consume, but like the things we attend.
Yep.
Like it's just parties.
Same club booth.
Same shit.
Buckles.
So it's like when you see like something like the Listening Room start
Yeah,
up,
yeah.
where like they have dedicated jazz nights to one artist and they're just playing that artist. Like that's something cool.
That's hard, bro.
You know what I
Something
mean?
different.
Like
Yeah.
something different. So yeah, with the verses, I was just like, yo,
That was so fire.
we can have 2 artists that are huge that people love, and they don't even have to be really related. Like Vibes and Movado was a top, like easy layup.
Made
like
sense.
we knew that. But before that, we had Rihanna versus Beyonce.
Hey, oh shoot.
You know what I mean? Like
That's
who
fire.
who wins that? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's not just like we're playing only them 2 for the whole night.
Mm-hmm.
So these are real fans that are coming out to support their artists. And then at 1:00 we have the actual showdown. I'll choose 2 people who attended the party,
Yeah.
and I'll pair them up with 2 DJs, and the DJ can help them, and I give them the theme of each round, and they have to play a song to battle against each other essentially. And the crowd we put like the artist on
Love.
a fan because you're a fan, and we have the fans choose who wins with the fans essentially. And yeah, man, the Vibes Movado one was fucking insane.
Lit.
Insane.
Lit.
The Rihanna Beyonce one was really good. I didn't think we were gonna be able to top that, but then yeah, that Vibes Movado one was
You
crazy.
know what I can see going crazy? A Nicki versus Cardi.
Yeah, well, there's that, like, and we're gonna switch shit up, like not even just artists, like eras,
90s verse, 2000s.
genres.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like genders. We did a men's 2000s versus women's 2000s one.
Bro, that would go crazy right
And
now.
it wasn't just specific to hip hop or R&B or anything like that. One of the parties I grew up loving in this city was a party called Shuffle, where you didn't know what was coming on essentially, and it'd have like Wonderwall, then it'd go into Vibes Cartel, then Britney Spears would play,
crazy.
and it's like it's only the biggest tunes from these people, but it's not just hip hop for 45, then soca for half an hour. Like the formula is just too predictable now when you go to these parties, man.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, if we change it up to even just years, it can be anything. It doesn't need to be gender specific. It could be anything. It could be, it doesn't need to be genre specific. It could be anything. So yeah, we're definitely gonna bring that
dope
back.
idea. That's a dope concept.
Yeah.
What about you, Friday?
Working on documentaries right now. I've been trying to get back in my documentary bag. Big salute to the homie from What's the Dirt, the homie Matt. He inspired me to get back into doing docs because besides the podcast and the live streams, we do documentaries, or I do documentaries on the channel, and a lot of them have done pretty good. So I'm back in there right now. Maybe by the time this is out, the documentary will be done. My next one is Toronto Rappers on the Run. So I'm covering 4 Toronto rappers who had a crazy run from the law and the rewards that went down and all the different behind the scenes that happened with that. Besides that, 2 episodes a week. We're going into episode 500. And yeah, Monday and Thursday every week, all audio platforms and on YouTube, man.
Congratulations on 500. That's
Thank you.
fire.
Thank you.
Accomplishment.
And clips for your head top, man. Like I drop like 3-4 clips a day on the YouTube channel, plus maybe 1 to 2 shorts. So just staying consistent with that and building. You know what I'm saying?
Love to hear
Fire.
that.
Looking for that bag.
With that being said, that wraps up the podcast. This is what you can't control. So control your grind. I control your life. I'm Alex. Holla at y'all. Peace.